Your phone.
The what?
Your text is stolen. Never mind.
The what?
Your phone. I can still hear your text.
Oh, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, live from the Ingalls Market studio, this is the National Championship Game Day edition of the Rob Brown Show. This is ESPN Upstate. Hello, Upstate South Carolina. It is great to be with you one more time again on a Monday afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is a chaotic day around the National Football League with head coaches and GMs being fired. Our first 18 draft picks are officially set. The playoff bracket is done. I would like to once again extend a very hearty, elongated, forceful middle finger directly to the Rams of Los Angeles for screwing me over again as a Saints fan. Just had to do it. I know we weren't going to win the Super Bowl. I know, but it would have been nice to be there. And the Rams couldn't hold on to a 17-point lead, losing OT. I'd also like to send a message to the Chargers of Los Angeles. Dear LA Chargers, what the hell? Signed Rob Brown. That's my message to them. What a weekend in the National Football League. And of course, it is game day, ladies and gentlemen. Georgia taking on Alabama for the national championship this evening, live from Lucas Oil Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. And we are going to be breaking that game down hardcore throughout the day. But before we get into any of that, of course, I need to introduce the young man sitting across from me, the guy in charge of button switches, levers, knobs, gears, wheels, pulleys, and other simple machinery that keeps us on the air and sounding as good as we do. He is the content cash cow. He is the great one, the alpha and the omega of ESPN Upstate, Colonel Grudge, #Dad Kicks, Lonzo in charge of the broadcast. What up, Zoe?
I need a hammer.
Why is that, Thor?
Well, because things just ain't working.
Yes, we have switched. The company has switched. We're a Google company now, so all our stuff's been moved to Google. And Lonzo is in a heavyweight bout with technology, ladies and gentlemen, and clearly is on the ropes.
Well, it's no one's fault around here. Some things are me forgetting passwords, but when you have multiple emails all in the same place. And some work in one room and don't work in another room, and I'm just trying to figure it out. But you know what? It's like playing a video game. It's like solving a puzzle. I will get there. And if you are watching on the Facebook pages of ESPN Upstate, you will notice that my face is turning red. But that's okay. You know, I need a little color over here, so I'm all right.
I like it. Lonzo's gonna be entertaining for me throughout the show. You can join it, watch it, enjoy it. Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate. The stream is up. Join us. Go behind the scenes. Chat with Lonzo and I off the air, and enjoy the chaos and debauchery that comes with, well, every day. But see it from a new perspective, ladies and gentlemen. Facebook.com/ESPN Upstate, Twitter.com/ESPN Upstate, or search The Rob Brown Show on YouTube if you'd like to hang out with us on the video live stream. All that being said, we got 1.5 million things to jump into on the show today. So let's do it.
Let's do lunch.
This is a very nutritious lunch. All the food groups are represented.
You guys are here.
What in the wide, wide world of sports is going on here? Lunch!
The lunch breakdown of 3 things you have to know before you go start talking sports with your friends, family, coworker, or the dog, whoever you spend your lunch break with. When you gather around the lunch table today, this will be the scuttlebutt. These will be the things that you need to know to talk sports. We start Monday, Bloody Monday. Monday, Bloody Monday. That's you too. Around the National Football League, as we have started to see names pop up on the unemployment line. We start with the Bears of Chicago, probably one of the least surprising firings in Chicago. The Matt Nagy era is over, and general manager Ryan Pace goes with them. The Fire Nagy cry has been growing louder and louder around Soldier Field. And Matt Nagy, who barely survived last season, ends up with another losing season. The Bears went on a losing streak after starting 3-2 with some frustrating losses along the way. Nagy was fired earlier this morning, a day after his fourth season as the team's head coach ended, according to the Chicago Bears. The Bears finished 6-11 after a season-ending loss to the Minnesota Vikings on Sunday afternoon. Nagy did finish his 4 seasons with a winning record of 34-31, but not enough progress was shown to justify a 5th season. Speaking of the Minnesota Vikings, they are cleaning house as well, as the Minnesota Vikings have fired Mike Zimmer. The franchise's third winningest coach after 8 seasons with the team have fired Zimmer, and GM Rick Spielman after 10 years at the post. Zimmer's firing was not considered a major shock amongst those in the know, even with his relatively strong body of work. 72-56 and 1, good for a 56.2% win percentage, places him third in Vikings history, behind Bud Grant's mark of 158, 96, and 5, and Dennis Green's 97 and 62 record. Zimmer led the Vikings to 2 NFC North titles, 3 playoff appearances, and a 2-3 postseason mark. And both victories were followed by blowout losses to eventual Super Bowl teams in those 2 years. Zimmer had signed a 3-year contract extension in June of 2020 that was supposed to run through the end of next season, but the Vikings then turned in back-to-back sub-500 seasons in the past 2 years. Both campaigns got off to slow starts, got hot in the middle, and then cooled off at the end. Spielman had signed a multi-year extension in 2020 and been the GM since 2012, has generally been regarded as one of the better drafters in the NFL. Though Minnesota has had a handful of misses, they thought with the additions of guys like Justin Jefferson, through the draft, that he would stay on board, but that ends up not being the case. And they are joined in the unemployment line. Surprisingly, this one might be a bit of a surprise. The Miami Dolphins have fired head coach Brian Flores, the most shocking move of an otherwise pretty static Monday. The assumption initially was that Flores' firing was going to pave the way for Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh to replace him. But Dolphins owner Stephen Ross said on Monday that, quote, "I'm not going to be the person to take Jim Harbaugh from the University of Michigan. I hope he stays there," end quote. Of course, Ross is a graduate of Michigan, where the business school is named after him, and also a major donor to the Wolverines football program. These were the first public comments of Stephen Ross in 2 years. So unless Ross is engaging in some semantics, mental gymnastics, it looks like Harbaugh will not be coming down to South Beach. Jeff Darlington of NFL.com said that is not the case as well. Most likely, Ross just believes that Flores does not have strong enough relationships with key players, including Tua Tagovailoa, to make the next step happen. He said in a statement, quote, "I made a decision today to part ways with Brian Flores. After evaluating where we are as an organization and what we need going forward to improve, I determined that the key dynamics of our football organization weren't functioning at a level I want to be, and felt that this decision was in the best interest of the Miami Dolphins." So the Dolphins are now without a head coach. The Bears are now without a head coach. And the Vikings are now without a head coach. We thought that, and it was reported yesterday, we talked a little bit about this on the Carolina Kickoff Show, that Matt Rule is safe, that Matt Rule will stay on board as the head coach of the Panthers. But Jay Glazer of Fox Sports is now reporting that that job may not be as secure as we thought. Glazer said on Fox Sports, quote, I know it's put out there that he's safe, not so fast. Matt Rule has to hire a rock star offensive coordinator for him to actually save his job, end quote. The situation that Jay Glazer describes is that David Tepper has not made a final decision on Matt Rule, and that he may be waiting to see what Rule does in the next handful of days to keep that job. There are some names out there at the offensive coordinator position that seem to be attracting a little more attention than others. And Jay Glazer is reporting now that unless Matt Rule can get one of those big name offensive coordinators to come to Carolina, that he may be out in the next handful of days as well. I doubt that. And I'm not saying I don't believe Jay Glazer, because I think Jay Glazer's good at his job. But I would like to think, although I have consistently questioned the decision-making process of the Carolina Panthers front office over the years, I would like to think that, knowing how exceptionally dangerous it is to enter the postseason without a head coach, knowing that there are candidates that are going to start getting snapped up left and right, that they would have, if they were going to axe Matt Rule, go ahead and given him his pink slip and let him walk at this point. But that has not happened. I do not know that that is going to happen. I'm keeping an eye on that situation. Matt Rule still in play as the head coach for the Panthers, but according to Jay Glazer, they want to see him make a splash in the OC hiring before they decide to pull the trigger one way or the other.
I just would have thought that they would have fired him before now if they were going to. And did he get the vote of confidence from Tepper?
Yes and no.
I mean, publicly.
Not that I have seen, but all the reports started floating around Saturday night into Sunday that Matt Rule was keeping his job. And that's from Shefty and Mortensen and Glazer and Darlington and all the big names, all reported that he would be staying on board. But I think the report now seems to be less he will be returning and more he hasn't been fired yet.
You know, back to Jim Harbaugh, and I'll have to see if I can find the article. I saw him linked to the Panthers job. And I forget where I saw it at, but I did see it because it like kind of caught my eyes. Like, why would Harbaugh leave after he just
Made it to a semifinal.
Yeah, but it's the NFL, and maybe he's ready to go back. I don't know. I would be shocked if Rule was fired.
You would be shocked?
Yeah, I would be. I think they're going to give him one more. I mean, I wouldn't be Brian Flores shocked, but I'd be shocked.
I would be shocked, not that he got fired, but that he was what appears to be the last in line for it to happen, right? Like, if Brian Flores gets fired, how does Matt Rule keep his job? But like I said, I wonder if Carolina has, I said this on the show yesterday, I wonder, Lonzo, if Carolina hasn't stumbled into Al Davis territory just a little bit, where the owner made a decision, and in order to not have to walk back that he made an incorrect decision, he will struggle through another 2 or 3 years of mediocrity to try to let Rule find his footing and take the next step. We'll talk more about that later on in the show. We got a few more spots. The top 18 draft picks are set in the National Football League, despite a shocking win over the Indianapolis Colts for the Jags to get to 3 wins on the season. They will have the first pick overall, courtesy of Detroit, knocking off the Green Bay Packers. The Pack, of course, in an irrelevant game, as they already had the 1 seed locked up. We did see Aaron Rodgers for a little while, but a lot of backups playing for Green Bay. So Jacksonville knocks off the Colts. And by the way, keep the Colts out of the playoffs with that win. Well done, Indy.
You know, I have a good friend who is a Clemson fan and an Indianapolis Colts fan. And all I can think of is your boy from Clemson knocked you out of the playoffs. And Trevor Lawrence looked good. The entire team looked good. Or is it that Indy looked really bad? I don't know. I thought Trevor Lawrence played really, really well. Can't wait to see who his new coach is going to be, and if there's going to be, major offensive changes as far as scheme goes and stuff. But he looked good. That's the best. He looked like what he should look at this point of the year.
He looked like what we expected him to look like.
Yeah, that he had grown throughout the year and was starting to get it.
I'm intrigued to see what the Jags do. Rumor is they've already looked at Bill O'Brien out of Alabama, which of course they would. They're the Jags. But I'll tell you who I really like in that hunt to coach Trevor Lawrence. How about Byron Leftwich? How about the Bucs offensive coordinator? Why not? Why not take a flyer on him, right? We'll see where that plays out. Here's the top 18 picks as they stand. Jacksonville will once again have the number 1 overall pick in the NFL draft. The Detroit Lions will pick 2nd, Houston 3rd, the Jets 4th, and the Giants 5th. Your Carolina Panthers will pick 6th overall in the NFL draft. Their game yesterday against Tampa had no influence on how that played out. The Giants will have another pick at number 7 via the Chicago Bears. The Falcons 8th, the Broncos 9th. The Jets will pick again at 10 via a trade with the Seattle Seahawks. The Washington football team will pick 11th. Minnesota, Cleveland, and Baltimore are 12, 13, and 14. The Eagles got a draft pick from the Miami Dolphins at 15, so Philly will pick there. The Eagles will also pick at number 16 after acquiring that pick in trade for Carson Wentz. The LA Chargers will pick 17th, and the New Orleans Saints will have the 18th overall pick in the draft. Item number 2 on the lunch breakdown. We've talked a little NFL. Your NFL playoff brackets are officially set. In wild card weekend in the NFC, we now know that the Eagles will travel down to Tampa Bay and take on the Bucs. That one will be Sunday at 1 p.m. on Fox. The second game of the day, the 49ers of San Francisco travel to the Big D, and I do mean Dallas, to take on the Cowboys. That will be at 4:30. And then on Monday night, our 8:15 matchup, we get another divisional matchup as the Cardinals of Arizona, the 5 seed, travel to LA to take on the 4 seed Rams. That one's going to be at 8:15. On Monday, of course, the Green Bay Packers got the overall number 1 seed and have the first round bye. In the AFC, we'll open up Saturday at 4:30 with the number 5 Raiders at the number 4 Bengals. We will then continue Saturday evening with an AFC matchup of the number 6 Patriots, divisional matchup on the road at the number 3 Buffalo Bills, who secured the division yesterday. That'll be Saturday at 8:15. And then on Sunday night, number 7, courtesy of the LA Chargers, completely and entirely blowing it, the Pittsburgh Steelers will be in, and they will travel to Kansas City to take on Lonzo's Chiefs. That'll be your Sunday nighter at 8:15 on NBC. The number 1 overall seed and the bye goes to the Titans of Tennessee.
Chargers, why you take the time
What are you
out,
doing,
man?
Chargers?
Why you do? Go. Then you take the time. It's like, okay, you want to do that? We're just gonna go ahead and kick a field goal and knock you out. I don't know if it's been addressed, but that's really what it looked like. Everybody on the field is shocked when he takes the timeout. Yeah. It makes no sense at all. I don't understand. Maybe he needs to go. Maybe,
that's unbelievable.
Maybe that put him automatically on the hot seat. I don't know.
Unbelievable. The Chargers, Brandon Staley's guys on defense. The Raiders get it down to around the 40 going in. There's 27 ticks on the clock left. And by everybody, from what we could tell, from just about everybody, the Raiders were going to take an E. Remember, the Raiders are in with a tie, right? The Raiders are in with a tie, and I know it's antithetical to what a lot of you guys believe, but the Raiders are in with a tie. From all we could tell, it looked like the Raiders were going to take a knee and just run the clock out, right? Take a knee, run the clock out. Both of you were in the postseason. The Chargers call a timeout, and the Raiders go, word, we'll play. I don't know why the hell you're calling a timeout. There were some folks online saying that, the Raiders came out in a jumbo formation, which of course they were, because they were going to kneel the ball. And the Chargers went, we don't have our jumbo set out there. We better call a timeout to change defensive personnel. And the Raiders went, all right, you want to call a timeout? Cool. We'll go win the game. We only need 5 more to be in field goal range. Why not? And if we miss the field goal, who the hell cares? We're going to be out of time, right? We either win or we tie. If you want to insult us by calling the timeout, we'll just send you home. And they did. Brandon Staley, what the hell are you doing?
I feel so bad for Justin Herbert too, because coming back, all those 4th and 9s, 4th and 10s, and dude was getting it done. Got it back, got him tied up and fighting hard, and then your coach takes a timeout.
Yeah. I mean, how many fourth down in the drive to score the touchdown to tie the game? And then in the drive to kick a field goal to tie the game in overtime, how many fourth downs did Justin Herbert end up earning first downs on? Like 5?
He set a record.
Yeah.
He set a record, a game record they were talking about last night in the broadcast. And because every time it's like fourth down, that's over. Just got another one.
And like 4th and 9s, 4th and 10s.
Yeah. And looked good coming back, and then they took the timeout. Man, I wish he wouldn't have did that just to see if that's what the Raiders were going to do. Because what a move that would have been, and what it really would have sucked if you were Pittsburgh.
So the Chargers call a timeout. Josh Jacobs coming off the timeout gashes a 10-yard run to send it down to the 30. If you're the Raiders, well, the hell not kick the field goal and win, right? Add another win to the record. What's it hurt? Here's the best part. After the game was over, the Raiders' long snapper went over to Austin Eckler, and the cameras caught him telling Austin Eckler that the Raiders had planned to kneel the clock before the timeout. They had planned to kneel it. There's a video. The long snapper runs up to Eckler. They're talking. He tells Eckler, and you can read his lips. He says, "We were going to kneel it," and Eckler's eyes roll so
By the way,
back in his head. I thought they were going to spin all the way around.
I didn't know that's who it was, but I saw that live.
Yep.
And I'm like, he just told him they were going to kneel.
Yep.
It's exactly what he told him.
Yep. The San Diego Superchargers, LA Superchargers absolutely time-outed themselves out of the playoffs. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. Ladies and gentlemen, if anybody tells you you're not qualified to do your job today, I want you to just look at him and say, Brandon Staley, and leave the room. That's all you got to do. Quick break. When we come back, we'll take a look at a few more NFL stories, and then it's wall-to-wall national championship game for the rest of the day. Savannah Lee from Fanside are going to join us coming up at 1:20 to talk Georgia football. Corey Diaz will join us at 1 o'clock. He's from Alabama. We'll talk to him a little bit, see if he wants to talk some Bama football with us. Back after this on the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
We have a phone call that was off topic. I finally got into everything.
Good.
The one thing I couldn't get into was Omni. So I had
That's
to.
not that important, is it?
Well, to do podcasts,
No,
you know. And it took me, he hung up. It took me, I tried to reset the password. I had to go with 5 different emails before finally it worked. And it had to be the old name, not the new name.
Yeah.
Not Odyssey. Like, okay. It's a wonderful adventure.
Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
ESPN Upstate is your home for Furman Paladins men's basketball. Every play, every game on ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg. On your computer, smart speaker, and phone on the Odyssey app.
Watching TaxPlayer calculate your refund feels like climbing to the apex of a roller coaster. And flying down the track.
Steven, I'm sorry, man. Okay? I didn't mean to do it. I promise. Next Saturday, the very first segment, we're talking Spider-Man. I mean, there was like 130 comments, and I was trying to pay attention to all that before I knew it. Time was up.
But a good night's rest helps boost your overall health and wellness. And it couldn't be easier. The Sleep Number 360 Smart Bed effortlessly adjusts and responds to both of you. The result? You wake up ready for anything. Proven quality sleep is life-changing. Don't miss our weekend special. Save up to $1,000 on Sleep Number 360 Smart Beds, plus special financing. Ends Monday. Special financing subject to credit approval. Minimum monthly payments required. See store for details.
Furman fans, you have 2 more opportunities to see your Paladin men's basketball team downtown at Bon Secours Wellness Arena as weekends at the Well continue. Both games in February.
Look, Raven just sent this to me.
And on the 19th, it's the Wofford Terriers. Tickets available.
Solid.
That's FurmanPaladins.com. 2 game packs, $4 single game tickets available. Furman basketball downtown weekends.
I saw one once where there was a dent, like somebody had backed into a traffic pole, like a steel traffic pole and left a dent in it. And when you zoomed in on it, somebody had put Yellow Jacket with Iron Man having punched him into it.
Oh, that's
like,
cool.
That's cool.
But it's super easy. They don't even have to use that goop that Parker had to use for his. Come on, Mom. I look more mature. Aren't you always saying it's time to grow up?
Good point. What's that website again?
MyAffordableBraces.com. And it's cheaper than our beach trip.
This report is sponsored by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy for free with DuckDuckGo.
I feel like I'm being haunted by a pair of headphones. Everywhere I go is a creepy ad for headphones I look at one time. I hate that feeling like I'm being watched. I downloaded DuckDuckGo and saw a difference right away. Take back your privacy online with DuckDuckGo. Privacy simplified.
Text us anytime at 71307. Use keyword ESPN followed by your comment.
The Rob Brown Show back on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate. Phone lines open 844-GSP, ESPN 844-477-3776. If I missed you on the phones, we were off the break. If you want to give us a call back, I'll punch you straight up on the air. The Preferred Home Services text line's open for you as well, 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read it on the air. Texter says, Rob, do you think Brian Flores is an NFL head coach next season and where? Yes, I absolutely do. I absolutely do. I could see him landing in Chicago. I could see him landing in Minnesota. I think both of those teams would take a flyer on Brian Flores. Absolutely. I talked about Jacksonville trying to get Byron Leftwich to come coach Trevor Lawrence. And a texter says, Rob, let's see here. I read and heard Byron Leftwich is going to be the heir to the Bucs when Arians hangs it up this or next offseason. Yeah, I think probably when Brady goes, Arians goes too, right? Like, why start with a blank sheet? Because remember, when Brady goes, you're going to lose a lot of talent. So why not just ride out on top?
How often does that coach in waiting thing actually work, though?
Occasionally. It would only, a lot of coaches in waiting, I would feel like would only take the job if there was a time limit on it, right? Like, all right, if I'm Byron Leftwich, I'll take that job if Arians tells me, hey, man, when Brady walks, I'm out and it's your team. I'd be happy to do that, right? You get another season, maybe two, with Tom Brady. Unless you win the Super Bowl this year, maybe Brady rides off into the sunset with the Super Bowl this year if he wins it. I don't think the Bucs do. But maybe he rides off into the sunset this year and you get it. On top of that, you got to wonder, if you're Byron Leftwich, Lonzo, which do you prefer? Go to Jacksonville and build a legacy with the toilet fire that place is right now, or take over and establish, so they will lose some talent, and establish franchise in Tampa Bay when Bruce Arians leaves. I would take the latter.
I would go home. If
quit.
No. I mean, where did he play his ball at?
Jacksonville. You're not.
Yeah. So if I was him, I would go home, and even with that talent on there, that talent was there before Tom Brady got there. Oh, it hurts. And look what happened when Tom got there. Yeah, they got more talent, but they were already a talented team. When Tom leaves, how many of those guys are staying? So would you rather stay there and rebuild there, or go somewhere else and rebuild new, where you also are going to get a little more of the hometown, hey, he came back for us type thing, get a little more leeway. Whereas if they tank the first two seasons in Tampa after Tom and Arians leaves, he'll be gone.
Yeah.
So I'd rather go home to Jacksonville. I think you get a little more of a leash.
The Canadian Panther fan in Greer. Hey, we got a Canadian listening to the show. Thanks, Guy. Appreciate it, buddy.
Take off, eh?
If you're Canadian, are you still mad at South Park? You are, right? You are. The Canadian Panther fan in Greer says Glazer reported the contrary. He said that Rule's seat is a little hot and it depends on the OC he hires. Yeah, that's what we talked about in the lunch breakdown. And I think that's probably a good report. I imagine that's a good report, right? You got one more chance if you're Matt Rule to prove that you can hit a home run hire here. Problem is, who's that guy? Who's a home run hire right now?
How is it his fault about Brady? Everybody wanted Brady.
No. Let me be abundantly clear. That was a good hire.
Yeah.
It was a bad firing, but Fitterer and Matt Rule both needed a sacrificial lamb to make themselves look better. And Joe Brady they weren't going to do it to Phil Snow because of how good the defense has been. So Brady was the only guy left in the room without high level power. They needed a sacrificial lamb, and Joe Brady was the guy. I almost guarantee you Matt Rule didn't want to fire Joe Brady, but they felt like they needed to make a move to show the fans that they would make a move. And Brady happened to be the guy. Brady was a home run hire. And they blew it.
What did they expect? How did that appease the fans? You hear Brady's gone, it's like, yeah, so?
Oh, it's stupid. And
yeah,
I don't get it.
I mean, it's not like, wow, we're good now. We knew that's what the problem was. He's gone now. Now we're going to be going up, going forward. No. I mean, you fire Brady, it's like, why did you do it now?
Well, there's a 100% reason that I have and will continue to say that the players on the field are not the problems for Carolina. It's the decision makers in the front office. Text says, if Al Davis was still alive, the Raiders would have definitely ran out the clock and sent Pittsburgh home. The payback for the Immaculate Reception is not dead for old Oakland fans. They hate the Steelers. The Raiders were going to run out the clock. They were going to run out. We have now got all but confirmed a guarantee now by a Raiders player telling Austin Eckler, yeah, we were going to take a knee until you guys called the timeout. Then we decided to finish it. That's just bad coaching. Texter says, let's see. Bob G just moved here from Hollywood, South Florida, and said, Rob went to a local upstate, ordered a chili dog, SMH, no hot dog on it, chili and onion and mustard, LOL. Yeah, I around here, why do y'all call it a chili dog when there ain't no dog? It's just a chili sandwich. You guys ordered chili sandwiches, which is fine. I'm down for a chili sandwich, but stop calling it a chili dog.
No, that's a sloppy Joe. That's what that is.
That's fine. I call it whatever you want to call it.
It's a sloppy Joe on a hot dog.
On a hot dog bun. Texas says part of rule staying another year should be no more Temple or Baylor players. Look, that narrative is justified, right? There's a lot of guys from Temple and Baylor on that squad, and of course there is. Matt Rule wants to surround himself with his guys that know his team and his system. But man, they're bad. It's bad. Speaking of the NFL, ladies and gentlemen, ESPN Upstate is your home for the NFL playoffs, your exclusive home for the NFL playoffs, all playoffs long and all the way through. And watch this. We're allowed to say it. You want to say it, Lonzo?
Super Bowl.
The Super Bowl. You know why we can say it? Because we are the only station in the Upstate that will be carrying live play-by-play of the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl, ladies and gentlemen. If you've got to be working during any of the playoff games, you can catch them all right here on ESPN Upstate Live as we carry you live coverage of the NFL playoffs and live play-by-play of the Super Bowl. 844-GSP-ESPN. The preferred home services text line is 71307. Let's take a break. When we come back, it is time, ladies and gentlemen, to start talking college football national championship. Georgia, Alabama. I've got some keys to victory on both sides of the football. I'll tell you what they are when we come back on the Rob Brown Show. Rob Lonzo and you. This is ESPN Upstate.
You're exactly right, Trey, but it's an ongoing debate, which there shouldn't be one. It's just weird.
Correct, Trey, correct.
And you keep thinking, people are just trying to mess with us, but no, there are people. Yeah, it's just we've had conversations with people who own restaurants about this.
You can get with the all-new 2022 Lexus NX. To discover more about this next-level crossover, visit lexus.com/NX.
Golfers, the best upstate golf is back and on sale now. The 2022 Upstate Golf Card gets you a round of golf at 10 premier upstate courses, and it's still only $99. Grab your foursome and get your upstate golf cards now to play courses including the Preserve at Verde, Willow Creek, Legacy Pines, Carolina Springs, and more. Order at theupstategolfcard.com. 10 rounds of golf for only $99. Upstategolfcard.com.
UpstateGolfCard.com. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider and are only available if the provider determines a prescription is appropriate. Subscription required. See website for full details and important safety information.
Hey guys, good news. The outrageously expensive little blue pill is now generic, which means you can get the prescription medication to treat ED at affordable prices. And Hims makes it extra affordable. You pay just $30 for a month's supply. And right now, get your first online doctor's visit totally free when you go to forhims.com/joy. That's right, free. Zero copay, no expensive appointments.
I'm trying to be mean, Steven, but is must a kind of meat? I'm just guessing.
So my next project I'm working on is, hang on, let me zoom in on it.
And that's really good news. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive.
The next project I'm going to work on is start making signs like this.
Yeah, I saw your post.
Yeah.
Do you have taxiety? That uncertain feeling before doing your taxes? Filing on your own or choosing the wrong partner can be stressful. Connect with Liberty Tax and then just...
I need one of those that says Reitzel compound, keep out. QC Kinetics in the next break.
Terms and conditions apply. See store for details. Get help managing your money for the life.
It's a mess with customizing my email. Is there a way that has the window where it shows what? Yeah. I don't know how you have yours set up. Yeah, he's messing around. He's absolutely messing around.
As Lonzo said, yeah, we're messing around a little bit. It's just kind of what we do. We take it seriously, but not that seriously.
We're messing around in an award-winning way.
Correct. Did you imagine how good we'd be if we took this seriously? Oh, what's that? We've already won the trophy for best sports talk radio show. You mean? I guess we could do better. Yeah, well.
I thought we started the year off with a bang. Now
Yeah.
we're back to where we were, I
Yeah.
think, possibly. I don't know.
I guess we just got to go win another trophy.
Yeah, you
Oh,
got to. 2 in a row will be nice.
Yeah, not mad about it. All right, let's talk college football, ladies and gentlemen. Also want to remind you that, speaking of ESPN Upstate and its award-winning lineup, tonight, are you the one that's like, I got to work during the national championship game? You know, those trucks ain't going to drive themselves. I know there's a handful of y'all that listen that you're the ones that get stuck on road work detail at nighttime so you don't interfere with everybody else. Well, ladies and gentlemen, do I have good news for you? ESPN Upstate is also your home for the college football national championship. That's right. This evening, if you are out and about, if you can't be, like the rest of us will be, plastered in front of a television, then, ladies and gentlemen, you can listen to the play-by-play of the national championship game this evening right here on ESPN Upstate. We will have play-by-play of the game from the kickoff till the final whistle and a trophy celebration presentation afterwards. It is ESPN Upstate, your home, your exclusive home, by the way, for the 2021-22 NCAA College Football Playoff National Championship game. It's right here on ESPN Upstate. Let's get into that game just a little bit, Lonzo. For you, we watched Alabama just absolutely smoke the Bulldogs just a handful of weeks ago, right? I mean, collapse Georgia. Georgia's defense, which had been really good all year long, just kind of went MIA against Alabama and the pass game of Heisman Trophy winner Bryce Young and co. I gave my key on defense last week, Lonzo. It's that they've got to play so aggressively at the point of attack. They've got to be so violent at the point of attack that some of them are charged with assault and battery after the game is over. If there is a key on the defensive side of the ball for you, Lonzo, against Alabama, what would you say it's going to be?
I hate to do this. I look like it's going to be a repeat. And I know it sounds like a cop-out, but I I don't think there's anything Georgia can do.
It's just not good enough.
They're just not. I think Alabama is they stumbled early, made everyone think that, maybe they're not as good as they have been in the past. And all they did was steadily get better each game as the year went on, and took advantage of the people don't think we're that good mentality. And then they come out and they whooped Georgia. It wasn't close. They whooped them. And they're probably going to do that again tonight. I'm not saying I'm not going to watch. I'm not saying you shouldn't watch. And you definitely should listen here on ESPN Upstate, because you're not going to hear it anywhere else. But I think we see Nick Saban head further on into the record books. And there's nothing wrong with possibly seeing the greatest coach of all time so far.
I think that Georgia's got enough talent to win the game, right? I think they've got enough talent to win the game. I feel very similarly to how I felt about Cincinnati, Alabama. I said going into that game, at the end of the day, Cincinnati's got enough depth across the top 22 to be able to win that game. Problem is, they got to play perfect to do it. And Cincinnati not only didn't play perfect, but not only did they not play perfect, but they were way out-coached, right? There are not many things that you can bank on in this life, but Alabama having Nick Saban beat former assistant coaches is towards the top of that list. Nick Saban is going to have this team ready for whatever Georgia throws. And that's what I've said is Georgia's going to have a good scheme. I suspect that as much as he learned from Nick Saban, that Kirby Smart is going to know how to look at Alabama game film, break down what Alabama did, and put the pieces together to have a good plan to come into this game. But Alabama is two. Alabama is two. This is not, again, I've said many times, Nick Saban is not to me, great game day X's and O's coach. But he also doesn't have to be, because he's got 3 different schemes in the binder before they even show up to the field tonight. And whenever you start to take one away from him, he's going to hit you with another one. And it's consistently worked. Cincinnati came out. Cincinnati put up a 3-man front as their base defense, and Nick Saban knew exactly how to attack it. And then in the second half, when Cincinnati didn't get away from a 3-down man base front, but they absolutely did start throwing a few more 4-down man looks at him, they were ready for that. It's not just about having a good scheme if you're Georgia. It's about blowing up Alabama, not beating it. It's about blowing it up. Georgia's defensive line is as big and talented as you can ask for in college football. But in the SEC championship game, what happened? Alabama didn't care at all. Didn't care at all. Georgia's defensive line got pushed around by Alabama's offensive line. And in fairness, it was easily the best game that Alabama's offensive line has played. And in fairness, Alabama's offensive line will have to do that again today.
There could be a reversal of mindsets, though, because Alabama, they came in with the mindset, we own you guys, and then they did that. Maybe Georgia comes in with the mindset, no, you don't, let me prove you wrong. If Georgia comes out and they play like South Carolina did against North Carolina, and I'm not talking about level of football, I'm talking about just come out and just punch them in the mouth and just shock them to death, the stuff they did. Georgia doesn't have to do anything that extravagant, but if they get out there and they just start manhandling them and they get out there with energy and knock Alabama back on their heels early, they got a shot at this. I wish that we would get a game tonight like what we got in the NFL last night. If we could get a game like that tonight, where it's goes to overtime or comes close to going to overtime, and the last team with the ball is the team that's going to win. I want to see that. That's entertaining. I just don't think it's going to. But man, I hope I'm wrong.
First off, if you're Georgia, how the hell do you come into this game with the mindset of we're going to push you around, right? I mean, I guess you can have any mindset you want, but I don't know how Georgia can realistically look at the fact that Alabama owned them in every aspect of the game 4 weeks ago.
I am reminded of the old Klingon proverb that revenge is a dish best served cold.
I mean, cool, but as I've said many times, the concept of how to stop a freight train is easy, right? You stand in front of it and you push real hard. That's how you do it. It's an easy concept. You just stand there and push back. Problem is, you don't have the strength or size to stop a freight train. And Alabama freight trains you. Now, again, it was Alabama's best game of the year, hands down. But the scary part is that then Alabama came out and just dismissed Cincinnati. I know a lot of Georgia fans who are going, yeah, but Rob, that's just Cincinnati, right? That's group of 5 Cincinnati. That ain't ACC competition. That ain't SEC competition. That ain't Big 10, Big 12 competition.
I was going to say, but that's what Alabama did to Ohio State last year.
Yeah.
So I don't think it matters level of competition. If they're in the mindset that they could be in and have been in when they've won the championship, it's hard to stop them.
Again, I don't know how if you're Georgia, you can have the mindset of we're just going to go out there and attack them, but it's your only choice. You are not going to pick apart Alabama's scheme. They've got 2 different ones, maybe 3. They can go pass heavy. They can go run heavy. They can balance it out on you. The question is not, can you stop Alabama's scheme? The question is, can you blow it the hell up? Can you just go bonkers at the line of scrimmage? Can you just pop off at the line of scrimmage? And prevent them from ever getting comfortable, from ever getting into a rhythm. That's your only choice. Texter says, I'm working at 6 a.m. tomorrow, and I also plan on eating and drinking excessively and feeling like absolute dog boat tomorrow. Can we please move the national championship game to a weekend? I'm begging you.
Hey, you're booking that boat trip on your own, so you just have to deal with the consequences.
No, it's mandatory. It's championship game day.
It's
mandatory.
It's not mandatory.
It's mandatory. Let's take a break. We're back after this to wrap up hour number 1. At 1 o'clock, Corey Diaz of the Greenville News is going to join us. We'll catch up on South Carolina's postseason. They got a big transfer in to fill a need. We'll ask Corey about that and get his perspective on the game tonight. At 1:20, Savannah Lee joins us. She covers the Georgia Bulldogs. We'll talk to her a little bit about what Georgia can do to win this game. All that more coming up. I'm Rob. He's Lonzo, and this is ESPN Upstate. Hey, my friends at QC Kinetics. Listen, if you have got joint pain that bugs you, right, in your knees, your hips, your elbows, your lower back, your wrist, your finger, doesn't matter where it is, your neck. If you got joint pain that bugs you, it's for a reason. When you're born, you've got connective tissue between all your joints. And as you age, early in life, that connective tissue can repair itself. It regenerates. But as you get older, the ability to do that drops off, and that connective tissue wears down. It doesn't regenerate. Stuff that ain't supposed to touches. You get inflammation. It causes joint pain. And you're going to get told, hey, you got to have surgery. We got to replace that knee. We got to go in and do this or do that. But before you do that, I want you to talk to my friends at QC Kinetics. Go to their website at qckinetix.com, qckinetics.com, and read up on their non-surgical regenerative therapy. They help your body to regenerate that connective tissue, to heal that connective tissue, and they do it without drugs, without steroids, and without surgery. So you go in, you get the therapy, you go right back to your day-to-day life. Ladies and gentlemen, it's just that simple. Give them a call at 864-448-3772, 864-448-3772. Mention the Rob Brown Show and get that first consultation for free with my friends at QC Kinetics.
Mostly sunny skies here this afternoon with a high around 52. At 4 tonight, mostly clear, low near 27. Tuesday, sunshine, high 45 degrees. And by Wednesday, mostly sunny, high 49. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Fleetsheetsky on ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 50.
Radio.com is now Odyssey. Download the Odyssey app and listen to
I'd love to check that out, Trey, but I got a show Saturday night that I rarely miss because it's frowned upon. So
The 22nd is a Saturday. You can't go to that either.
can't help it. It's Saturday, you know. Maybe my show could be canceled by then, Rob. Then I could go.
Optimism.
I think I'm good for a few more months anyway.
Buff Bagel's going to be there. Matt Hardy's going to be there. FTR is going to be there. Scotty Too Hottie's going to be there. There's a couple more former big names that are going to be there.
If you don't want to go through another year with those old clunkers, listen to this. For a limited time, we're offering $50 off per window.
Now, I'm all for broadcasting live from the event, but, you know, that's probably not going to happen. So it's weird when you see notifications unread and they're blank. It scares me.
I started my business in the basement of a factory in 1986. There was no heat, no air conditioning, and I used blankets as my office walls. Instead of customers, my visitors were rats, birds, flies, and snakes. And I was broke. To psych myself up that I was going to succeed, I wore formal business attire and a tie to that lonely factory basement every day. Strange? Yeah, I looked like a goof, but I didn't care. I had my late model 1970s mustache to comfort.
Panthers are bringing back quarterback P.J. Walker on a one-year deal.
Like making payroll simple and incredibly inexpensive for small businesses. Our payroll starts at just $10 a month. Go to patriotsoftware.com and enter promo code RADIO, and I'll give you 2 months of payroll processing free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
Yeah, a lot of wrestling wouldn't pass the FCC regulations for sure, especially local stuff. If Rob was in the crowd, it wouldn't pass FCC regulations.
Uh-oh.
See, you had to, yeah, but does it count that you're changing your stance? You turn it all the way around.
I know, but the
Trash can has definitely moved. Yeah, there's no way. You're not doing this. Yes, I've challenged you.
Okay, I got it.
That would be a no.
The style was good. The angle was bad.
You can move the can, you know? I mean, that's what you need to do. There you go.
Come on.
Use that backboard, man. That's what you got to do. Throw it like a lawn dart.
It hit the back rim and bounced out somehow.
There you go.
Unbelievable.
Next time, pretend it's a batarang.
Absolutely unbelievable and unacceptable. Pretend it's a what?
Batarang.
No, I can't.
Which is, that's what I do. So.
Rob Lonzo, you, the Rob Brown Show's on your radio. It's ESPN Upstate, 844-GSP, ESPN. Text us on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307. Remember, tonight we are your exclusive home in the Upstate of the College Football National Championship game. Check it out. If you got to be out and about tonight, we got it covered for you. Alabama. Keys to Alabama winning. I gave you one already. The offensive line for the Crimson Tide was as good in the SEC championship game as they have been in any game all year long, okay? They were the best they have been all season long in the SEC championship game, which is unsurprising. Saban knows how to get his boys ready to go for a big one. They got to do it again tonight, okay? This is the spot where Georgia is going to hang most of its optimism. Georgia's going to hang its optimism on, all right? They brought the best game they had played at us across the offensive line in the SEC championship game. The best game they could play. The odds that they can do it again are not great. It is unlikely that they are going to be able to run that same game back at us again. So, because they are unlikely to run that same game back at us, we need to hit them at the spot where if they fail to replicate their performance from 4 weeks ago or 5 weeks ago, whatever it was, they fail to replicate that, we know where we can do the most damage. The most damage gets done at the point of attack by Georgia's defensive line. This is not an option. This is mandatory. This is why I've said, if Georgia wants a chance at winning this game, because Stetson Bennett, who looked great against Michigan, by the way.
Dave Gettleman has announced his retirement.
Yeah, just saw that on Twitter. Breaking news brought to you by our friends at BetQL. Smarter bets start with BetQL. Download the BetQL app or visit BetQL.com today. New York Giants GM Dave Gettleman is stepping away. Somewhere, Chris Lewis, the president of the Triumph, who is a big-time Giants fan, is popping a bottle of champagne right now, I'm sure. As all Giants fans are. What a cowardly way to end the season for the Giants yesterday, right? They just surrendered to the Washington football team. Anyway, when we come back, Corey Diaz of the Greenville News will join us here on the show. He's a South Carolina guy, obviously over in Columbia, but he's from Alabama. He might have some insight on the championship game. We'll run a couple of South Carolina questions, get us perspective. Then at 1:20, Savannah Lee covers the Georgia Bulldogs as well. We'll talk to her about her perspective on what Georgia can do to win this game. And then it's all Georgia, Alabama for the rest of the day. Join in, won't you? My name is Rob Brown. He's Lonzo. This is the Rob Brown Show on ESPN Upstate.
Panthers finish out the year on a 7-game losing streak. They lose to Tampa Bay on Sunday, 41-17. Panthers finish out the year with a 5-12 record. Indications at this point are that head coach Matt Rule is going to return to the Panthers next season. Also, a report over the weekend from ESPN's Adam Schefter that Rule is targeting former NFL head coaches Jay Gruden and Bill O'Brien in their search for a new offensive coordinator. The Atlanta Falcons also finish out the season with a loss. They lose on Sunday to the Saints 32-20. The Falcons finish out the year with a record of 7-10. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
Hey, Corey, this is Lonzo, ESPN Upstate. Nothing much. How are you today? Well, there's only, 7 more to go or something like that? Nah, it'll fly by. All right, hang on.
On ESPN.
Second hour of the National Championship Game Day edition of the Rob Brown Show goes now. It's ESPN Upstate. I am Rob. Lonzo is on the board today and joining us now on the show as he does on Mondays to talk a little South Carolina football. We may pepper him with a couple of national championship questions at the end. From the Greenville News, the young man they call Corey Diaz joins us on the show. Corey, happy game day, big fella. How we feeling, my man?
Appreciate you, man. We're impatiently counting down the hours, man, for this evening. Really excited about getting to watch the final game of the college football season. So it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about that coming up in a minute. But obviously, we got to put a little cap in the final. Not the end of South Carolina season was a big win over North Carolina in a border war in the Duke's Mayo Bowl, but there's been some moves since then. We've had Shane Beamer's first departure from his coaching staff. We got a big transfer in from NC State earlier today. What's been the latest, the biggest couple of headlines you think in the last couple of days that impact the 22 season?
Sure. I mean, I think, what I have found most interesting about Terrell Dawkins deciding to join South Carolina, transfer from North Carolina State, is, his what could potentially have been his position coach, and Mike Peterson was not on staff when he committed to play at South Carolina. To me, what that tells you is this is the kind of kid that you want in your football program, because he's not committing to a specific position coach. He's actually committing to the vision, the direction, and the culture of the football program. He talked about I've seen interviews with him discussing his conversations with Clayton White and as well as Shane Beamer. And again, that's a kid that you want, in your football program, because it's not going to be a kid that, obviously he is a transfer, but to me, that signals a kid that's probably going to be here until his either playing days are over or he, forgoes a year or two or what have you to enter the NFL draft. And so, and again, I mean, when you talk about losing Ngnagbare and Aaron Sterling at both of the end positions, I mean, there was a lot of need at that position, and it was big for South Carolina to get him to commit and, not to sort of deviate away from the football field, but to me, Aaliyah Boston, she recorded her 9th straight double-double yesterday, something that has not happened with the South Carolina women's basketball program in, I believe, 42 or 43 years. I don't know what more needs to happen. If there's listeners out there who are South Carolina fans who have not gotten to the Colonial Life Arena yet this season to check out this women's basketball team, I don't know what more needs to happen to convince you to go down there and get it, because I tell you, man, just about every time you walk in that building, something historic is happening. And what Dawn Staley and her team just continues to do every time they get out on the floor, man, it's just impressive. It's incredible. And, there's another game coming up on Thursday night against a team that's probably not going to be in the top 25, but ended the week in the top 25. So it's going to be another quality game. So, looking forward to that. I'm going to be in the building again for that. So, just a lot of really good things are happening in Columbia right now.
We're talking to Corey Diaz from the Greenville News. He covers South Carolina athletics over there in Columbia. As far as roster moves, we looked the other day, and again, we saw a transfer in this morning. Big defensive tackle from NC State is being added to the roster. I think that was absolutely going to be labeled a position of need for the Gamecocks. Jason Brown out. He's now headed to Virginia Tech to be a Hokie, but there's going to be good competition in the quarterback room, even without Jason Brown on the roster next year. Obviously, Spencer Rattler is the big get, but there's a lot of competition. I have said a couple of times, Corey, that Shane Beamer is doing something I think you have to do if you want to get ahead in recruiting from this position in history moving forward, and it is to have great relationships with kids and convince them that the school will be able to do as much for you as they want you to do for the school, etc. Have you seen Shane Beamer working on relationships as kind of being a priority moving forward?
Yeah, I think so. And just with the position that you were just talking about, Rob, I mean, look, so you have a kid in Braden Davis who's been, committed to come play at South Carolina for, what seems like just forever. He was a commitment for a long time, come in and play quarterback. And not only does Shane go out and get Spencer Rattler from Oklahoma, a former 5-star prospect, to come transfer and sign with South Carolina and come in and play. But then, right before signing day, you get Tanner Bailey, who, I believe he's from Gordo, Alabama, which I have been to before. It is a one-stoplight town about 40 miles northwest of Tuscaloosa, Alabama. So if you blink, you miss it if you drive through. But, they have a really good football program there. Covered a couple of games when I was interning at the Tuscaloosa News many moons ago. So you bring in this kid into the fold too. So, again, I think that's a really clear example of just the kind of relationship, like coach to player relationship, that Shane just continues to build with a lot of these kids that he's, getting to sort of buy into. Obviously the competitive culture of what they're trying to build. And, I saw an interview that Shane was on, I believe it was the Pat McAfee show a couple of weeks ago, just a couple of days after the bowl game. And, that was something that Pat asked Shane about was, how do you get your program up to a level of a Georgia or an Alabama? And that was the very specific thing that Shane talked about was we have to formulate this culture of competition where, we do sign 2 or 3 or 4, 4-star recruits at one position and have them buy into the idea of coming in and competing, because it's not only about you, it's about the team, and it's about making the team better.
Corey Diaz writes for the Greenville News, covers the Gamecocks for TGN. Looked at the 2022 South Carolina football schedule released last week, Corey, and South Carolina kind of thrown into the thick of it right off the bat. They open on the 3rd against Georgia State, but then not only back-to-back SEC games in week 2 and 3, but they open up on the road at Arkansas before they come back home to take on what I assume is going to be another very good Georgia team. What's the focus for Shane Beamer as far as knowing that this team has to come out of the gate hot? I mean, if you lose a couple up front, you do get Charlotte and then SC State back-to-back weeks after that, so a little recovery time before you got to go on the road at Kentucky. But it looks to me like, if South Carolina can come out of those first 3 at 2-1, they got a chance to certainly I think bowl eligibility isn't an expectation but a demand next year, right?
I would say, Rob, right now, as you and I are talking on January 10th, 2022, a little less than 8 months out from kicking the season off, I think if the team next year doesn't make a bowl game, it would be a huge disappointment. I mean, look, again, and it's not just about Spencer Rattler. It's not just about Austin Stogner. It's not just about Terrell Dawkins. It's not just about these kids that they've signed. When you look at if you would have looked at South Carolina's roster a year ago from today versus the roster that they have listed on their website as of right now today, if you look at those two different rosters and think, there's not much talent difference, there's not much difference, then you're kind of in the dark a little bit, because I mean this group right now, and again, there's going to be more movement. There's probably going to be some that decide to leave. There's going to be probably more transfers, and obviously there's another signing period come up where I think there's a couple more that we would see, from a freshman class perspective, come in and join the football program. But I mean this roster in 1 year's time, just the amount of increase in talent, I think is impressive, and obviously, again, it doesn't just start at the quarterback position, which I think it's gotten immensely better with the addition of Rattler. But, you're looking at guys that, guys that have decided to come back, especially on the defensive side of the ball. Zach Pickens could have been a guy that decided to forego and enter the NFL draft, but decided again, as we talked about a second ago, buying into the culture, coming back, just trying to leave a legacy at a place like South Carolina. The Brad Johnsons, the RJ Rodericks. I mean, these guys were important pieces for this 2022 roster. To where, like you said, Rob, look, that game in Fayetteville, week 2 next year, it is going to be a measuring stick game. It's going to be a one of those, cliche early season games that really tells you where you are, where a team is. Fayetteville's a hard place to play, and this Arkansas program that Sam Pittman has built the last 3 years is really, really, really good. They looked good in their bowl game against Penn State. So that's going to be a huge quality matchup on the road. And then you got Georgia at home. So, obviously it's going to be – there's 2 big early SEC play tests. But even if South Carolina does drop the game at Arkansas and does lose to Georgia at home, I don't think it hurts them as much as it would have maybe this year.
Corey Diaz covers the Gamecocks athletic department for the Greenville News, joins us every Monday on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Our last question, and then I want to pepper you with a couple of national championship game questions, Corey. Spencer Rattler obviously coming over from Oklahoma, and the dude has a little bit of a reputation, obviously. I don't think he helped it all that much by transferring out of Oklahoma, though I do understand his decision. There have been videos of him in high school coming out where he seems to be a bit of a hothead, a bit arrogant, a bit egotistical, but also seems to have a really good relationship with Shane Beamer. It was enough to get him to transfer over to South Carolina. I know that he has been in Columbia now. He posted a picture on social media last week from inside of Willie B. Has there been any, outside of I saw the Garnet Trust interview with him, but have there been sightings around Spencer Rattler? Like, is he in town? Is he buying in? And what's the feeling about him, both from you and your colleagues covering this team and from the general fan base of Gamecocks fans in Columbia?
Yeah, he was actually on campus, late last week. He finally took a visit. He took an official visit to University of South Carolina, a place where he had already signed before he'd even stepped foot on campus before. Another one of those just like weird, quirky things. But, again, I mean, as we talked about, it's that coach to player relationship, right? And Shane Shane seems to have a really good grasp on just really selling a program, getting kids to buy in. And but no, man, I mean, look, when I get in my car, like I drove to the bank this morning, get out of my car, drive to the bank. I know the teller at my bank that's literally right around the corner from my apartment. And, she knows that I cover South Carolina for the USA Today Network and the Greenville News. And, she is a football fan herself. And, the first time I went to the bank after the initial announcement of Rattler joining South Carolina, I mean, I go in and that's the thing that she wants to talk about. I think that's the entire South Carolina Gamecock fan base right now is, and it's not, to not say that any of the other positions on the team are of equal importance, because they all are. It's a team game. But look, the quarterback's the face of your program. Quarterback really makes the machine go, right? And everyone is behind this decision to bring Spencer Rattler in. And Shane said something during his signing day press conference that I think those who potentially doubt the potential of a negative impact that Spencer would have on this football program. Shane said, look, if I didn't know what kind of person he was, I wouldn't have brought him in. We don't bring kids in off of just recruiting stars and profiles alone. Like, they get him and his staff, they get to know these kids, and they want the right people in their football program. And I think it's just telling enough that, after he says that, Spencer Rattler is signing. I think that's an omen of there may have been some immaturity in the past. There may have been some potential character issues in the past, but what he knows about Spencer and how he feels about him. He feels that he's a guy that can come in and positively affect this football program. I think it's what everyone needs to focus on.
Corey Diaz covers the Gamecocks for the Greenville News, joins us here on the Rob Brown Show. We got about 2 minutes left, Corey. So just your thoughts. I've said, look, if Georgia wants to win this game tonight, it's got to be they've got to play violently enough at the line of scrimmage that some of them get charged with assault and battery after the game is over, because you're not going to out-scheme Nick Saban in this game. Your only hope is to blow up his scheme and hope that they can't fix it while you jump out to a lead. What does Georgia need to do if they want to hoist the trophy when it's all said and done?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you look at Georgia, I mean, obviously that's a great point, Rob. I mean, look, we saw these two teams play each other in the SEC championship game just a little over a month ago, right? I think it's 5 weeks ago now. And yeah, I mean, Alabama, their offensive line dominated the line of scrimmage. Obviously something that no one saw coming, especially with Jordan Davis and Tyndall and those guys up front. Devontae Walker for Georgia. I mean, just special talented guys. But Alabama was up to the task. They were. I think they heard a lot of the talk, leading up to that game, and they went out there with a mindset of they weren't going to be disrespected like that, in the talking heads and the folks that put these prognostications together. And so, to me, Georgia's biggest key is Kirby Smart. I don't think he can get in his own way like he's done against Alabama in the past. The come from behind Alabama SEC championship with Jalen Hurts coming off the bench and leading Alabama to the win. I mean, there was that just crazy decision to try to fake that punt there around midfield, and it failed. Alabama gets the ball back and they go right down and they score. It's things like that, things that, in the national championship game 4 years ago, Georgia's up, I believe, 10-0 at halftime. They come out, and instead of continuing to being the aggressor, Kirby decides to lay back and goes, look, we're just going to run the ball, and if we 3 yards in a cloud of dust, we just punt it away. Well, again, coaching strategy bites them in the rear end. So Georgia's biggest key is Kirby Smart. They have to put their foot on the gas and keep it there. And then for Alabama, I think it's on their defensive side of the ball. I think that their secondary has been not to the Nick Saban level that we've seen in his 15 years at Alabama. I think this secondary has been pretty suspect all year long. So if they can, if they can get Stetson Bennett to, throw the ball in tight windows, not really give him a whole lot of numbers in order to which to throw to. I think that could be a big key for Alabama to ultimately win this game tonight and get its second straight national championship.
Corey Diaz is the host, joins us here on the Rob Brown Show. He writes and covers the Gamecocks athletic department for the Greenville News every single Monday. He comes and chats the football. Corey, my man, appreciate it always, big dog. We will talk to you next week when we got a championship crowned.
Thank you, man. Appreciate you guys. Y'all take care. Talk to y'all soon.
You got it. That's Corey Diaz from the Greenville News. Follow him on Twitter at Corey Diaz, CORYDIAZ_TGN, as in the Greenville News. Let's take a break. When we come back, Savannah Lee covers the Georgia Bulldogs for Fansided. We'll ask her what Georgia needs to do against the onslaught of Alabama's offense. We keep our championship game coverage rolling. Reminder, we are your home for the College Football National Championship game this evening. Exclusive play-by-play coverage here and only here on ESPN Upstate. Back after this. This is the Rob Brown Show.
Bill O'Brien in their search for a new offensive coordinator. The Atlanta Falcons also finish out the season with a loss. They lose on Sunday to the Saints 32-20. The Falcons finish out the year with a record of 7-10. Download the Score app today. Lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Pat Pauly.
I got to give you Savannah's number.
I'm Kelsey Messenger, helping you beat the books with BetQL. If you're thinking about putting money down on a long shot to win the Super Bowl and you're feeling all sentimental about Ben Roethlisberger, stop it. First, the Steelers are the only double-digit underdog this weekend. Second, no team needing help to make the
If you're
playoffs.
feeling, she said, if you're feeling nostalgic about Ben Roethlisberger, stop it.
Without the ones like you,
Hey, I'm not going to sell them short. Kansas City has played down to some of the competition they played.
I said yesterday, I was talking to Tim, and I said, I don't know why, but I get the feeling the Steelers are one of those teams that if you give them a door open in the playoffs, they'll figure out how to kick it open.
Yeah, I'm not taking anything lightly. And hopefully they aren't either. Matt Roll says he fully expects Christian McCaffrey to be here next year.
Because nobody wants to trade for him.
Maybe they just like him, Rob. Maybe they think he's awesome. Maybe that.
I mean, maybe.
Is Owen there?
There?
At the Rule press conference, or is he might just be tapped into it and watching it.
Resolving over $1 billion in tax debts for their clients. Call Optima now for a free consultation. Call 800-935.
He's at least watching it. He's just tweeting a lot about the press conference. And I know someone who is there who's tweeting about it.
Furman fans, you have two more opportunities to see your Paladin men's basketball team downtown at Bon Secours Wellness Arena as weekends at the Well continue. Both games in February, the 5th against UNCG, and on the 19th, it's the Wofford Terriers. Tickets available now at FurmanPaladins.com. That's FurmanPaladins.com. 2-game packs or single-game tickets available. Furman basketball downtown weekends at the Well.
Hi, speak to Savannah, please. This is Lonzo from ESPN Upstate. How are you today? I am doing well. Looks like we got about a minute and a half, and Rob will be right with you. Yep. Not according to his press conference, Keegan. He says he still thinks he can play and play at a high level.
Yeah, but he also said, I ain't coming back for no 5-12. I'll tell you that right now.
And then they asked Matt Rule about it, and he said he didn't see Cam's press conference. But that he wants someone like Cam on.
Imagine the head coach going, yeah, I didn't watch the press conference of a guy that we're trying to decide if we should bring him back next year to be our quarterback.
Well, he also said that he'd love Cam on any team he ever coaches because of how he motivates everyone around him.
Yeah. I totally believe him.
You're just so negative. Stop being so negative. Be positive.
I'm not negative. I'm realistic.
If reality is only negativity, I'll just live in my fantasy world. If sunshine and rainbows weren't a thing, it'd be dark right now.
O'Kennedy is hiring production technicians starting at $16.80 an hour. O'Kennedy.
All right, let's welcome in a returning friend of the show. She is now the editor of Dawn of the Dog, the Georgia website on Fansided. You have heard her many times talking golf. Now we talk some college football with Savannah Lee, who gets back on the program. Savannah, so good to have you back. What's happening, girl? How are you?
I'm just trying to keep it together. It's like 7.5 hours still, and I'm just like, well, can we not have this game at 8 o'clock? Can we just do it now? Because it's a nervous wreck. It's Georgia fans were all just nervous wreck.
In fairness, I'm just trying to keep it together is like my mantra for life. So if this is all you got, you're in good shape. Savannah Lee joining us here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate. Now you're a Georgia grad, correct?
Yep, Georgia grad, Grady grad, December 2018.
Very nice. Very nice. So let's start with this. And it's the question I have seen people hit you with on Twitter, and I have seen you react here and there. Obviously, the narrative, whether you like it or not, Savannah, is that Kirby Smart's Dogs just can't seem to get it done in the big one. They have squared off with Alabama a couple of times in SEC championship games, national championship games, and Saban's got the better end every time so far. What makes this game different? How does Kirby Smart get over the hump in this one?
Well, Georgia usually only has to take them on one time a year, and when they do, it's usually going the Alabama Crimson Tide's way, 7 in a row for them. But there's something different about having to take on a team twice in one season. Georgia did it in 2017 with Auburn, and we saw what happened then. And so I'm not saying that this Alabama team is like that Auburn team or anything like that, but when a team gets an opportunity to take it on another one for the second time, that means they get another chance to fix what they did wrong. And Georgia did a lot wrong in that first game of, giving up 500 total offensive yards and 41 points again. And so the defense has really got to show up. And then, Georgia's got to be able to play within themselves. As cliche as that sounds, it's something that has worked for them all year long. They've kind of silenced out the noise and focused on themselves and getting better and not letting any of the quote unquote rat poison in. And I feel like they've done a really good job since the Michigan game of doing that and feeling like this is another business trip. We're not going to celebrate the Orange Bowl. We're not only going to celebrate if we win a national championship. And so I think the way that Kirby gets over the hump is by staying focused and staying on themselves instead of trying to beat Alabama. Just, go out there and play another ball game and forget that it is, the arch, not necessarily an arch nemesis, but the one team that Georgia cannot seem to get over. But hey, 2 times in 1 year, it's just, something's got to give, right?
Sure. You'd like to think so if you're Kirby Smart. So here's what I said about it, Savannah. I want to get your thoughts on this. I've said a couple of times that Alabama played the best game they've played all year in the SEC championship game against Georgia. I think they were better in that game than they were against Cincinnati. I think if that same team shows up against Cincinnati, they beat them by 35. The good news for Georgia is that teams only have one best game of the year. The bad news is you don't know if Alabama's going to get better tonight. My thought is that Georgia's defensive line, which I think has been the heartbeat of this team all year long, Georgia's defensive line needs to play so aggressively violent at the point of attack that some of them are pulled up on charges of assault and battery after the game is over, because you're not going to out-scheme Nick Saban. The only thing you can do is blow up his scheme. The only thing you can do is create chaos at the point of attack and try to get Alabama to fall apart a little bit. Do you think we will see the hyper-aggressive Georgia Bulldogs tonight?
I think so. I think Georgia got away from being themselves in the SEC championship game. They did some different things with the secondary, and then there were a lot of different spying teams and stuff that they did with that front seven that just didn't work, and they never really adjusted. It's like they got smacked in the mouth, and they're like, no one has smacked us in the mouth all season. What do we do with this? And I think that's what they worked on from December 4th to now is, remembering who they are and everything. But yeah, I do. And if you want a very interesting stat that I keep using this week is quarterback hurries. I think quarterback hurries is going to be a big stat in this ballgame because Georgia barely got any pressure against Bryce Young the last time these two teams played. But as the entire season, Georgia has 233 quarterback hurries. And if you want to compare that to Alabama, they only have like maybe 50. So that kind of puts it into perspective. When Georgia is pressuring a quarterback, they're doing something, like you're saying, causing chaos and causing havoc for opposing offenses. And that's what they got to do. They had 30 quarterback hurries against Michigan, and we saw what happened there. So if Georgia can put pressure on Bryce Young, that's going to be one of the biggest keys, in my opinion, is whether or not. Because if they don't, he's going to have a field day because Georgia's secondary is the weakest point. But if they do, it could be a long night for the Alabama Crimson Tide.
Savannah Lee joining us here on the Rob Brown Show. She's the editor of the Dawn of the Dogs website for Fansided, covering Georgia. And I guess that was the big mystery about that first SEC championship game. Georgia stacked across the defensive line, but that defensive line unit basically was a non-factor in that game. Now, I've gone back, I've watched that SEC championship game a couple of times, and it was the best Alabama's offensive line has played all season long. Now they got 2 weeks to look at Georgia. Can Georgia's defensive line show up tonight? Can they be better than they were in the SEC championship game?
I think so. Jordan Davis even made it a point this week to talk about how his conditioning has gotten better, and he's made it a point to increase conditioning so he doesn't look as tired as some people say that he did against Alabama in the first time they played. But I also want to mention that Alabama's got a couple guys on their offensive line that are banged up. So it isn't really sure if they're going to play tonight or how good to go they are. And so Georgia's got an advantage there because the Dogs are healthy. For like the first time all season, Georgia is actually healthy. And so the defensive front has a slight edge there. I'm going to need Jordan Davis to really put some pressure on and open some holes up to allow Nakobe Dean and Channing Tindall to bust through and put pressure on Bryce Young. But that defensive front, if they can get the push, it's going to go Georgia's way because they are one of the best, if not the best, defensive front in college football. And that's the key. That's the bottom line is when Georgia puts pressure on guys or gets that push up front is when they are the most successful. And they're going to have to play mean. They're going to have to play with that chip on the shoulder like they did against Michigan because no one thought Georgia was going to do anything. They thought, oh, well, okay, they got beaten in the SEC championship game. Now we see the typical Georgia team that we do on the big stage. And, well, they slapped Michigan in the mouth too and proved that wasn't the case at all, that they refocused and regrouped. And I will say, like, this senior leadership that's on the defense, Jordan Davis, Nakobe isn't a senior, but he might as well be because he's probably going to the NFL draft. You got Nolan Smith and all those guys. They know what it takes to win this ball game, and they know that they have the capabilities to. It's just time for them to quit focusing on the outside noise and focus on themselves. But to kind of answer your question, instead of continuing to ramble on and repeat myself, Georgia's got to get that push. If Jordan Davis gets that push, it'll allow Jalen Carter to kind of put more pressure on him on one side, or Devontae Wyatt. And another thing is they got to, force Bryce Young to make a mistake, and that starts with the defensive front too. So there's a couple things, but hopefully that answered your question instead of just being kind of a rambling mouth.
Let's flip it over to the Georgia offensive side of the football, right? Well, we know what Alabama can do. They got a Heisman Trophy winner at quarterback. They've got a running back that put up over 200 against Cincinnati, although Cincinnati oddly choosing to run a 3-down lineman front as their base defense. On the flip side of the ball, obviously, Georgia's going to have to go score for score with Alabama this evening. There has been a lot of questions about Stetson Bennett IV. And outside of the Bama game, Stetson's really answered all of them. But it's like every time I turn channels here at the Palatial Ingalls Market Studios, I see another talking head going, I don't think Stetson Bennett's got it. I don't think Stetson Bennett's got it. Well, he went out there, he had it against Michigan, and they blew the Wolverines out of the water. That being said, Michigan is not going to bring the pressure Alabama brings tonight. What do you expect to see out of that young man trying to prove himself? Or I've seen a lot of his quotes. Does he care about proving himself?
I don't think he does, but at the same time, I think he does because as the noise is so loud, not from just the talking heads, but a lot of Georgia fans too. And it's kind of sad that Georgia fans can't just rally behind a quarterback because the coaches say that he gives us the best chance to win. And obviously he does. What he did against Michigan is just about everything you need to ask for out of a quarterback. He had a couple suspicious throws, but that's Stetson. That's kind of what he does. That's just one of his tendencies and a habit that he's been working on trying to break. But I think this young man has everything it takes to lead this team to a national championship. If the offensive line is able to give him enough time, which sometimes they give him too much time, which is when he tends to make a mistake. So he's just got to remember about his decision-making skills. If you see somebody, trust his throwing ability because he does have it. I don't care how tall he is or how strong he is or anything like that. He's proven time and time again he can get the long ball to Brock Bowers or George Pickens and the one catch in the Alabama game and Ladd McConkey and all of them. Like, the kid has the intelligence to do this. He has the talent to do this. And now it's time that he trusts himself. And I think the Michigan game was a big improvement on him trusting himself because he was able to throw it over 30 times. 31. He went 20 of 30. That's right. That's the correct stat. 20 of 30 for 313 yards and 3 touchdowns. I mean, he threw for over 30 passes, and everybody's like, "Oh, he can't win a game if he does that." Well, he did. And 66% completion, that's exactly where you want to be on a stage like this. So if the offensive line can contain Will Anderson and company, I think Stetson's got the capabilities to do so. But he also has to remember he's got legs, and that's one of the reasons why he is starting quarterback over JT Daniels is his ability to tuck it and run it and get key first downs, which he did against Michigan, which he did all season. So that's going to be something he needs to do as well. It's just a big confidence thing in him and reminding himself, like, who cares that it's Alabama? It's another opponent, which I think he said this week anyway. It's just another opponent, and that's the best way he can take it. Because if he thinks about it as being Alabama, the big bad Alabama is when he tends to try to overcompensate. He doesn't need to overcompensate. He just needs to play his game.
Last one for you, Savannah Lee, and it's the name that I absolutely think is going to be the difference maker tonight for Georgia if they find a way to win this game, and that is Brock Bowers. The dude is an absolute matchup nightmare for Georgia. He is a dude that can catch anywhere on the field, particularly good, surprisingly, deeper down the field and across the middle. Alabama, it runs a scheme that very frequently has linebackers in one-on-one coverage against tight ends. If that dude can get, let's say, 80 yards of receiving tonight, I think Georgia's got a good chance to win this game. Who is your key to the offense, and is it him?
Brock is one of the keys. I think that Georgia needs for him to continue doing what he does, but they also need somebody like a James Cook to kind of match that, because I guarantee you Alabama is going to find a way to try and contain Brock. But when they do, that's going to leave somebody else wide open or able to, not necessarily wide open, but able to kind of cause havoc themselves. And James Cook did it against Michigan, and I'd love to see him take advantage of this opportunity on a big stage to leave a legacy as a senior and do it. But George Pickens is someone else that I think doesn't necessarily have to have like 10 catches for 80 yards or anything. Like, just get him 2 or 3 good opportunities to make a big play downfield, and that's going to be enough for him to leave a lasting impact, because when he's on the field, they know, and they have him double covered because they know how talented he is. So if he can get just 2-3 top catches that are for first downs or for even maybe a touchdown, that would be a big thing. I'd love to see that out of Jermaine Burton too. Georgia's got so many weapons now that they're healthy. It's going to be fun to see how Todd Monken kind of crafts up a good game plan. I'd love to see something creative like he did against Michigan with Kenny McIntosh throwing to A.D. Mitchell for a touchdown pass. I'd love to see something like that tonight too. But the key player, I'd love to see James Cook just kind of take control of the running back situation, not just the running back stuff, but being a playmaker through the air as well for Stetson.
You can find Savannah Lee on Twitter at SportsGirlSL. You can also find her work at Dawn of the Dog. That's DAWG.com, where she covers the Georgia Bulldogs. Savannah, good luck tonight. 3.5-point favorites are Georgia, so Vegas believes in you. We'll see how it plays out. We'll talk to you next week about it. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Rob. I appreciate it. Good off.
There you go. That's Savannah Lee. And you know what I appreciate about her? She didn't bark at us. I have seen videos of
is that a thing?
The Georgia fans bark at you.
I was not aware that's a thing.
And not like a little bit. Not like a little bit. Like, they bark bark at you. It's very weird, but they love it. It's passion, baby. It's College Football National Championship Day. You're home for the College Football National Championships right here on ESPN Upstate.
I'm Christine Lisi. Breaking news: a change coming for the Giants. GM Dave Gettleman announcing he's retiring as senior VP.
I need to find out. I don't know if next Monday has been addressed. Has it been addressed with you?
I don't know what you're talking about, so no.
It's a company holiday.
Oh. Okay. I'll find out after the show.
Well, or I'll go find out because I need to go. I need to go find
Yeah,
out.
no one said anything to me about it. I'm good either way. Save it, use it another day. What day is it? MLK Day?
While the Vikings fired both Coach Mike Zimmer and GM Rick Spielman. The college football season all comes down to this: Alabama, Georgia in the College Football Playoff National Championship game. Megacast coverage kicks off at 7 Eastern tonight on ESPN Radio, ESPN TV, and other ESPN platforms.
From the Ingles Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station. In this market, you'll find Fisher Investments is different than other money managers.
Fisher is different? How? Don't you just ride the wave?
Nope. We actively manage client portfolios based on our forward-looking views of the market. In times like these, we understand that clients want proactive communication and guidance.
You don't just provide cookie-cutter portfolios?
No, we get to know our clients so we can tailor their portfolios for their specific goals and needs. We can offer resources on Social Security, Medicare, tax efficiency, and more. Our primary goal is to help them achieve a comfortable retirement.
But you still sell investments that generate high commissions, right?
No, we don't sell commission products. Fisher Investments is a fiduciary, the highest standard for a financial advisor. It means we're there for our clients and always put their interests first.
So when do you make more money? Only when your clients make more money?
Yep, our fees are transparent, structured so we do better when our clients do better. Visit FisherInvestments.com to find out why investors like you are switching to us. Fisher Investments, clearly different money management.
Investing in securities involves the risk of loss.
Restrictions may apply. Price and cost of coverage may vary. Talk to my details. Look, money's tight for everyone right now. It's been a tough year, and you sure don't need to get hit with a big unexpected bill. Like, what if your car breaks down right now? How are you paying the bill? If it's your transmission, that's over $3,000. Your engine, up to $6,000. Even minor repairs like your air conditioning can hit your wallet hard. Here's the good news: if you have a car, truck, or SUV that's $19.99 or newer, you can stop paying for repairs right now. That's right. With Protect My Car, when your car breaks down, we pay your repair bill for you. Just dial 800-279-2827 on your mobile phone now to get started. Protect My Car pays for repairs to your engine, transmission, air conditioning, suspension, and so much more. Dial 800-279-2827 and get your car protected before your next repair bill hits. Dial 800-279-2827 on your mobile phone right now and get free roadside assistance, free towing, free car rental, and free oil changes. Dial 800-279-2827 and never pay for car repairs again. Dial 800-279-2827.
You could save big when you bundle your home with Oliver Progressive, but when we just come out and see it, it feels like it all to be flat. We're going to see
We're saying words now.
Every time I see someone here, that they're leaving.
Nah, he's working.
Hey, we have a different Russian viewer today. I think it's different.
I think you're correct. Well, it's the same message, so.
I don't want to look it up because it's probably not something good. Golf card in next break. And this break obviously needs to be very short.
Setting their prices? That's right, but many don't bother giving small businesses the savings you deserve. Instead, you can get lumped in with other businesses and overcharged. Pi Insurance was created to change that. With Pi, you get a quote tailored specifically to your business, and you could save up to 30% with no hassle and no hidden fees. And with helpful representatives just a call away, it's easy to understand why Pi is rated excellent by customers on Trustpilot. Take 3 minutes to see how much you could save with Pi Insurance. Go to ineedpi.com. That's ineedpi.com.
Your home for the national championship game is right here on ESPN Upstate, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed. You can hear every snap of that game right here on the Big Stick this evening. Kickoff at 8 p.m. By the way, real quick.
Our coverage begins at 7 p.m.
That's right. Coverage as soon as Mark Ryan goes off the air. Kickoff at 8. You can hear it all right here on ESPN Upstate. Bob Bowlesby of the playoff committee has spoken out. The athletic directors and those on the committee are meeting in Indianapolis right now where they're having conversation about expanding the playoffs. And according to Ross Dellinger writes for Sports Illustrated and SI Now, Dellinger is reporting that the presidents that are on the secondary committee have asked the commissioners to keep working on agreeing to an expansion model. Apparently, Bob Bowlesby said that they are frustrated that they cannot reach a deal. And the story coming out of Indy right now is that the only thing that is separating the commissioners on striking an agreement for expansion of the playoffs is automatic qualifiers. Basically, the commissioners of the big conferences want guarantees that the big conference champs will get in, whereas the smaller conferences are saying absolutely not. You should not get an automatic bye. We should still go by the best 8 or 12 teams, not give away spots to conference champions who wouldn't ordinarily otherwise be in the mix, and they have hit an impasse there. Does not mean these are the end of the conversations, but Bill Hancock said, quote, "We are going into overtime," and Bob Bowlesby described it as saying, quote, "Have you ever seen the movie Groundhog Day?" End quote. So
basically the SEC doesn't want automatic qualifiers.
No, the impression I'm getting is that the Power 5 conferences do want automatic qualifiers, but they only want Power 5 conferences to be eligible for AQs. So basically the SEC champ is in no matter what. And I suspect the reason they want that is they don't want to end up in a year, and again, it's unlikely, but it's not improbable. They don't want to end in a year where a 3-loss SEC East champ knocks off a 1-loss major SEC team out of the West. So like a 3-loss Florida team knocks off an undefeated Alabama team in the SEC championship game, drops Alabama down, and feel like they are not getting both of those teams in. They want an SEC champion to get an AQ, and also any other team that is inside of that top 10 to be able to get in as well. So appears to be a bit of gridlock. The smaller conferences are fighting against AQs. The bigger conferences fighting for them, but they are still in conversations, and I don't believe those conversations are slated to end until later on this week. We'll keep you up to date on that as they continue to develop. Let's take a break, come back, wrap up hour number 2, hour number 3. Lonzo and I go on the record with our championship game day predictions right here on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
Golf cart.
If you have a golf lover in your family who likes to get out and swing the sticks just a little bit, I got good news for you. The 2022 Upstate Golf Card is here and now on sale for just $99. In years past, you had to wait until a little bit later in the year, maybe miss out on some January, February. We got some good weekends coming up, ladies and gentlemen, to get out there and hit the links a little bit. If you want yours, they're just $99. It's going to get you 18 holes of golf at 10 of the best golf courses in the Upstate. $99 gets you 18 at courses like the Preserve at Verde, the Rock Golf Club and Resort, and Rolling Green. But you got to get yours now. Supplies are limited. Go to upstategolfcard.com. Upstategolfcard.com. Get yours now. It's the 2022 Upstate Golf Card.
Mostly sunny skies here this afternoon and a high around 52. And for tonight, mostly clear, low near 27. Tuesday, sunshine, high 45 degrees.
Scott Fitterer says they are open to bringing Cam Newton back.
Currently, it's 50.
Radio.com is now Odyssey. Download the Odyssey app and listen to
We have to be smart about how we use our draft picks. We have to treat those like gold.
Yeah, because you don't have them.
We have to be stout up front, offensively and defensively, but we're not going to be blind to the quarterback or other positions. That's it. You go ahead and do that. Is there a quarterback coming out this year that's better than anybody on the roster for the Panthers right now?
Not as a guarantee.
So you got to go lineman.
Not as a guarantee. And I would, I mean, yeah, 100% you got to go lineman. Because again, I said this on the show on Sunday. I still don't know. I know a lot of people want to believe it. I still don't know that Sam Darnold, you rule him out as not good. I think you got to give him an offensive line to play behind, which they have not done.
And yes, I did give that look because
You did give a look.
Yeah, because I need to. Because last week was bad. Well, put Cam Newton behind a good line too. I mean, I don't know. It's one thing to say, it's another thing to do it. Go out and get a better offensive line. Fitter said the offensive line is priority 1. Should have been last year, but okay. I mean, you're getting around to it. Can't wait till they update that because, you know.
Same-day prescription delivery making your life easier, or how there's a pharmacy expert available 24/7 and one-click refills? Well, I just did anyways. Fill your Medicare prescriptions with Walgreens and save. $0 copay for private tier 1 generic drugs and select plans with Walgreens as a preferred pharmacy. Restrictions apply. See Walgreens.com/Medicare for complete details.
The sound of you doing is music to our ears.
I don't know. Devin posted a picture of her at Star Wars saying the nerd in paradise. I don't know. I think we recognize our own. Still, I'm not. I know she was in wrestling last week. I get that, but I just don't.
You don't believe
is Devin a nerd? I don't know. Might need to test her knowledge.
Here's I try not to gatekeep nerddom. Only because the only way people start to become a fan of something is by dabbling in it first. And if you make somebody feel unwelcome in that area, then they're never going to become a fan.
Well, nerd has changed as far as the definition because she's a former beauty pageant contestant and winner, I believe.
Sure.
So can you be a nerd and win a beauty pageant?
Yes,
I'm not
absolutely.
sure.
Absolutely.
I'm not sure.
The girls I'm watching playing Critical Role are all famous actresses who have gotten famous by being.
Or it could be
pretty
that I'm just trying to see if she's
if she's watching.
Yeah. It could be that.
Carolina fans on Twitter losing their minds. Fire Matt Rule and hire Brian Flores immediately. And I got to tell you, I would, like yesterday. Cam Newton was asked if he would come back. He said he is happy to play the role of backup if that's what's required of him. But he said it's all about winning. He said, I'll tell you what, I ain't coming back for no 5-12, end quote. So Cam's gone. Cam's out. Texter says ESPN automatic qualifying is dumb. The whole thing is dumb. Go back to the bleeping BCS computer model with no bull boat eye test and put the best 8 or 12 teams that is listed. It's literally that simple.
I think there's some robot presence on the text line wanting to go back to the robots. Just saying.
The further we get away from the BCS, the more people seem to look at it with nostalgia. We'll talk about that in the next hour. And Lonzo and I go on the record with our national championship picks next on the Rob Brown Show and ESPN Upstate.
Presents your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update powered by The Score. The Carolina Panthers finish out the year on a 7-game losing streak. They lose to Tampa Bay on Sunday, 41-17. Panthers finish out the year with a 5-12 record. Indicates the head coach Matt Rule is going to return to the Panthers next season. Also report over the weekend from ESPN's Untitled Chapter that Rule is targeting former NFL head coaches Jay Gruden and Bill O'Brien in their search for a new. Later, the Atlanta Falcons also finished out the season with a loss. They lose on Sunday 32-20. The Falcons up the year with a record of. For the Score app today, lightning fast sports alerts so you never miss a thing. It's why the Score app is one of North America's most popular sports apps. With your ESPN Upstate Sports Center update, I'm Matt Pauley.
The third, the final, the best, the money hour. The Rob Brown Show goes now, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back. This is ESPN Upstate live from the Ingalls Market Studio. It's the Rob Brown Show. What is up, Upstate South Carolina? Hello, America. Hello, world. It is great to be with you once again. I am Rob Brown, the great one. Lonzo, hashtag Dad Kicks, Colonel Grudge, the Alpha and the Omega of ESPN Upstate, the content cash cow sitting directly across from me. And this is the hour that we want to hear from you guys on the phone line at 844-477-3776, 844-GSP, ESPN. That's the phone number to get your voice heard on the air. You can also text us on the the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307, 71307. Start your text with ESPN so we can read them on the air. Ross Dellinger is currently in Indianapolis. He is reporting on the meetings between the college football commissioners about the potential for playoff expansion. And here, you know what? I think we could give this glass, Lonzo. I think this is big enough to consider glass. I think. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and say yes. This is good enough for that. Breaking news brought to you by our friends at BetQL. Smart bet start with BetQL. Download the BetQL app or visit betql.com today. Dellinger going on the record and saying that college football playoff commissioners could not reach they could not get to a unanimous vote. Unanimity.
There you go.
Unanimity.
That's the one.
Is that it?
Yes, I'm not doing it, but that's the one.
Unanimity.
I've heard it before.
This is the dumbest I've felt on the air since I moved here. Unanimity. I don't think I've ever seen that word put that way.
I would like to apologize for, through osmosis, my difficulty with big words coming through or over the glass and affecting your brain. And, I apologize. I'm sorry.
Unanimity.
It's unanimity, yes.
Learn something new every day. I'm here to make your life better and my own, ladies and gentlemen. College football playoff commissioners could not reach unanimity, according to Bob Bowlesby.
It doesn't sound right when you say it, does it?
It doesn't.
I think you're stressing.
Leaning into it too much?
Yeah, you're doing something there.
CFP commissioners could not reach unanimity. Now I'm overthinking it. It's like, you ever thought about the word refrigerator? It's a weird word when you really think about it. Refrigerator. Unanimity.
So's restaurant.
Because
most people say restaurant.
Restaurant. CFP commissioners could not reach an anonymous. I'm just changing the word now. Unanimous.
There we go.
I am what the kids call, Lonzo, dumb. So there's that. Could not reach a unanimous decision, according to Bob Bowlesby. So there is no expansion decision right now. CFP commissioners, according to Dellinger, did vote. It was split. And then a report was submitted to CFP presidents. Bowlesby says he's very disappointed. He said whether or not the contract will expand in 24 or 25, the potential for it to expand by 2024 or 2025 is dead. Bowlesby said, quote, practically, which means, ladies and gentlemen, that now, as of today, the earliest that we will see a college football playoff expanded past 4 teams would be 2026. Dellinger says that the meetings today and the results were expected, but that what college football has missed on here, Zoe, is what they roughly estimate to be about $450 million in additional revenue in 2024 and 25, as well as 16 extra playoff spots that would have been generated from a 12-team playoff in those 2 years, end quote. So Dellinger says that playoff expansion is dead once again for 2024. It is now dead for 2025, and that the best we can do at this point would be an expanded playoffs in 2026. And that's if they can agree to a system within the next year from now. Unanimity. That's what they have to get. They have to get unanimity.
So how long do you think it will take them to achieve unanimity?
I don't know, because, again, we talk about the $450 million worth of lost revenue for 24 and 25 not having any expanded playoffs. Even the smaller conferences, see, here's the thing. The $450 million is going to get split up amongst the teams that are in the playoff and the conferences that send them, right? So I saw somebody a minute ago on Twitter say, well, wait a minute. If we're talking about a $500 million on the books that is now off the books, wouldn't turning that down hurt the smaller colleges and the smaller conferences, right? Wouldn't turning that down hurt them as much as it hurts the big schools? And the answer is no, because that money, of course, goes to the teams that are in the playoff and goes to the conferences that send teams to the playoffs. So this is why the big conferences want guaranteed AQs for their conference, right? They want 5 AQs for the 5 conference champions and 1 for or 4 for the big conference champions, and then the highest remaining conference champ, which in many years is going to be the 5th conference champion, and then split the rest up based on the whatever playoff rankings we're using when we get to that point in college football's future. The small schools are going, wait, there's a $500 million on the table every 2 years, and you guys are effectively locking us out of it. But by doing AQs, you are creating a situation where we'll be lucky to get one group of 5 team in, right? What if there's a year that you have a 2017 UCF and a 2021 Cincinnati Bearcats both inside that group? There's a good potential one of those 2 teams could get locked out, right? And so they're saying there's a $500 million on the table. Here's the deal. We're either going to be given access to more of that, or we will keep scrapping this idea and prevent anybody from getting a slice of the $500 million.
So this is not about the opportunity to have more people competing for a national championship. What you're saying is this is all about money.
Everything's all about money. Everything's all about money. Every decision made in college football is about money, right? Like, and I guess this is one of the reasons that I get frustrated with a lot of college football fans. Every decision made in college football is about the money, without a doubt. So yes, the smaller.
Wait. It's not about the fan bases. It's not about the players. It's about money.
You're adorable, Lonzo.
I already knew that, but I appreciate
adorable.
it. Yeah.
Bless your heart.
Next thing you're going to say is that we work in radio for money. I mean, come on.
I shall plead the 5th on the remainder of that conversation. Look, when it comes down to it, it is absolutely about money. The smaller conferences at this point are looking at this situation and they are saying, you are locking us out of getting a slice of that $500 million. And that's 2-year total. So a quarter bill is what you're looking at every year. You're locking us out of a $250 million a year, our share of a $250 million a year, by basically meaning that in order to get into an expanded playoff, a team has to do what Cincinnati did. And the opportunities for that to happen just traditionally ain't there. Remember, Cincinnati was a yard away from being locked out of the playoffs. Oklahoma State scores a touchdown in that Big 12 championship game. I guarantee you Oklahoma State's going to the playoff and Cincinnati's getting locked out at number 5. I guarantee it. So the best group of 5 season ever needed Oklahoma State to blow and end around the Big 12 championship and be a yard short of winning that game in order to get in. Which meant that Cincinnati would have dropped. They may still have snuck into the playoffs late. But if there was another group of 5 team out there, that could have gotten in, they would have got bumped and likely would not have been in a 12. Which means that one team gets a 12th of that $250 million that would have been spread out amongst the playoff teams and conferences. So they're saying, if you were going to lock us out from being any more than 1/12 of a slice of that pie, then we'll spit on the pie and won't nobody get a slice of it. And I'm not mad at them for it. It's a business decision in a big time business. I'm not mad at him for it. In your spot, you'd do the same thing, I suspect. Texas says ESPN, so a group of 5 wants to get paid to get embarrassed in the playoffs every year. First off, why are we acting like teams don't get paid to get embarrassed throughout the season every year? Do you think South Carolina State played at Clemson for free? Nope. Do you think that Georgia State's coming to Willie B next year to get throttled by 35 for free? Nope. When I was down in Florida, I can't tell you how many FSU and Alabama and Auburn games I got free tickets to that I didn't go because I didn't need to get Samford. I needed to watch Samford get beat by 55 by Nick Saban's guys or by Jimbo Fisher's guys. Do you think Samford is going to Tallahassee, Tuscaloosa, Opelika, and Baton Rouge favori? No. It's a money decision. We will let your guys kick our guys' asses for 60 minutes for, I don't know, $750,000.
Well, this doesn't make any sense because expansion is because more teams deserve to get in. It's not supposed to be about the money. It's about competition. It's about the fact that some teams are left out who could actually compete for the national championship, right?
Most definitely. It's definitely it. Definitely college football expansion because anybody believes that 5 through 12 would have had a chance at Bama or Georgia this year.
I do.
Of course you do. Couldn't get by number 4, but you'd have got by number 2.
I'm not the only one, though.
Yeah, you and all the other Buckeyes.
It's not just about Buckeyes. There are other teams in that, window that you were talking about. I don't know who they are. I do know where the Buckeyes were.
Exactly.
So.
Point here is that, of course, it's about the money. And the fact that the group of 5 teams in the system that has been put forward so far are getting locked out of more than on their best years. 1/1,000th of the pie. They'll just stomp on the whole pie, right? I would rather ain't nobody at the table get a slice than us get a little slice and y'all get the rest. Of course, that's how it works out. So I don't know, man. I personally am fine with 4 AQs plus 1 and the other 7 rounded out by the best teams. And we'll start getting into arguments about how do we determine what the other best teams are. I think we've got plenty of ways that all work, pros and cons. I'd be fine if we go back to a BCS ranking system, but still do the AQs. Plus 1, 4 plus 1. I don't care how we do it. Just get it done.
All right, I guess this is breaking news. The Broncos have requested permission to interview Cowboys DC Dan Quinn, sources say.
NFL teams, do y'all
retread?
Do y'all watch history? I mean, don't get me wrong. Dallas's defense has been great this year. But at what point are NFL teams going to learn that they're just some guys that are coordinators? And that's what they do. What's the, Lonzo, there's a kind of a joke name. What is it? The Peter Principle, I think. It's the Peter Principle that says that everybody gets promoted to one job more advanced than what they're best suited for, right? And I don't know if there's a more adequate way to describe head coaching searches in the NFL than the perfect illustration of the Peter Principle. Bill O'Brien's a great coordinator. He failed miserably as a head coach, blew the team up on his way out the door, and Jacksonville's like, hey, call that guy. Dan Quinn was in Atlanta. Atlanta was hot garbage during Dan Quinn's. He shows up in Dallas. He kills it as the defensive coordinator, and Denver's like, who cares that he sucked? Now, don't get me wrong. There are some head coaches that in round 2 give it a shot.
You need to mention how good of a defensive coordinator he was before he became a head coach, because he was with Seattle, right? And that was a pretty good defense.
They were good. But they're just some guys who get promoted one spot ahead of where they're supposed to be. And the NFL, man, they love trying to be the one to prove the Peter Principle wrong, don't they? Again, there are some head coaches that get second chances and they turn into studs, but that's the exception, not the rule. All right, let's take a break. When Lonzo and I come back, we'll break down this college football national championship one more time again, and we will go on the record with our official projections of tonight's game, which you can hear live right here on ESPN Upstate. Back after this. I respect your decision, Keegan. I look forward to the end of this week when we start switching over to college basketball talk.
Have you looked into my braces yet? I'm starting middle school this year. With everything happening this summer, I don't think we have the time or even the money. Don't worry, Mom. My AffordableBraces.com not only has braces starting at $39.95, but it's super easy. They don't even have to use that goop that Parker has to use for his. Come on, Mom. I look more mature. Aren't you always saying it's time to grow up?
Good point. What's that website again?
MyAffordableBraces.com. Cheaper than our beach trip.
If you're looking for a new job with great pay and benefits, Auto Kineton is for you. Formerly Tower International, Auto Kineton is hiring with a $500 to $2,000 sign-on bonus. They are looking for second and third shift production technicians with starting pay at $16.80 an hour and maintenance technicians with starting pay of $32.50 an hour. Rate increases after 90 days. Don't miss their hiring events every Thursday from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at 141 South Chase Boulevard at Fountain Lane.
So much of life these days is rushing.
Trying to figure out if the inside of my arms are really that pale or if it's just the sun.
This week at Ingles, select varieties 6 to 8 ounce Sargento sliced cheese, 2 for $6. Select size of member IVs, Dunkin' bag, or take up coffee, $4.98 each. And select blended oat milk or oat milk creamer, 2 for $4. Realizes, love the savings.
Mike Capel here, serial entrepreneur with words from another happy payroll customer.
I've used it for a year now, and I've worried 0 times. I just enter in the time, it's calculated, and it takes out a bank account, and it's just done. I love it.
Visit us at patriotsoftware.com. Use promo code RADIO and get 2 months of payroll free. That's patriotsoftware.com.
Accounting and payroll, keep your time and money.
In late 2020, 603 people, including Meryl Streep, Tyler Perry, Leonardo DiCaprio, Jennifer Lawrence, Jonah Hill, and Ariana Grande, prepared to make a movie. The pandemic was raging, the country was fractured, and filmmaker Adam McKay had an urgent story to tell. The last movie ever made is the official podcast documenting the making of Don't Look Up, a new film now on Netflix. Out now on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcast.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dashboard light problems? We can help. Our free 600 service can read your check engine light, ABS.
Gonna get us flagged. Stop it.
Do what?
So you're gonna get us flagged. What are you doing, man? Stop.
A video of this little kid dressed as Kylo Ren going to talk to Kylo Ren at Disney, and it's great. I've never seen a waffle fry maker before, and there's apparently like a whole tool to make waffle fries. Incredible. Texas says Shane Beamer to the Carolina Panthers in 2023. Mark it down. I will not, sir. I will not. I doubt it. But 22. No, it's not happening. Not happening. All right. 844-GSP ESPN. If you want to get on the air with us, you're welcome to. Preferred Home Services text line 71307. We're going to talk college football, but before we do, want to remind you that coming up this weekend and all the way through the Super Bowl, your home for all the NFL action is right here on ESPN Upstate. We will be carrying every playoff game, and we will be carrying exclusively the Super Bowl right here on ESPN Upstate, the only station who can even say the words Super Bowl because we have it right here on ESPN Upstate. All right. We've gone back and forth about this game. Lonzo, the Georgia-Alabama national championship game this evening. You have said a couple of times that you don't see any reason to believe that this game will turn out any differently than the last one, the SEC championship game. History says the opposite. There have been 4 national championship games or de facto national championship games where there has been a rematch of 2 teams that played earlier in the season. And in all 4 games, the team that lost the first won the second, and convincingly so. Regardless of what the score in the first game was, in the second one, the team that lost the first one won. I believe the line is like 21. They've all won by 21 or better. Now, I don't see a blowout happening in this game either way, right? I don't think either team is blowing out the other in this game. In fact, I think it could end up being a decent game. Georgia's got to hope Alabama is off their game, though, which traditionally has not been the case for the Crimson Tide in the postseason. Lonzo, final score and why?
I'm going to go Alabama 34, Georgia 14. Just because Alabama is in Georgia's head. And I don't see them getting past that. I hope I'm wrong. I really do. I would love to see Georgia win this game. I'd love to see Georgia make it competitive. But I think Alabama is at that level where they've been in the past, just like last year when they've won the championship, and I just don't see them losing.
Like I said, I think Kirby Smart has one advantage that a lot of other teams that have faced Alabama at this point in the season don't have, right? And that's the fact that not only does he have tape on Nick Saban, but he's got tape with his team in it. He's got the glaring weaknesses that stuck out in the SEC championship game to look at, which most teams that have faced Alabama, with the exception of LSU, did not. Remember, when LSU fought Nick Saban, they had played earlier as well, and Alabama curb stomped LSU in that national championship game. LSU crossed the midfield, I think, one time in that game. The bad news for Kirby is that Nick Saban's got the exact same thing. And while there didn't appear to be a ton of weaknesses in that first game for the Crimson Tide, what few there were, Nick Saban knows. He's got him down. And there's a lot of folks who were saying, I don't understand why it is that Nick Saban is being treated as if he can take this situation and handle it better than Kirby Smart. Well, the reason is he has in the past. As Savannah pointed out earlier in last hour, right? Kirby Smart is 0 for 7. Georgia's 0 for 7 in their last 7 against Alabama. There's dominance, and then there's dominance. What's Kansas City won 13 in a row against Denver at this point? I will put money on the Chiefs every time they go up against Denver until they lose a game. I got to have the same thing against Alabama here. First off, as a betting guy, seeing the line, and let me check and see where it's moved to. But
I was going to ask you what the line was because I'm curious about that.
It opened with Alabama as a 3.5 point dog. 3.5 point dog. That line, looking the sportsbook, Lonzo, is averaged out to right at 3. All right, so there's a few books. There's a few books that have Alabama as plus 3.5. There's a few books that have moved them down to plus 2.5. Here's what's really surprising to me about this, and I don't know. Maybe I'm going with my gut more than my brain. Maybe I'm missing something. The majority of the bets are for Alabama to cover the 3.5 that they're in the hole. But those that are betting on Georgia are doing so confidently. The majority of the bets have come in for Alabama, though, but the majority of the money is coming in on Georgia. That being said, there are fewer people betting on Georgia to be up 4 or better, but those that are betting on Georgia are throwing a lot more money at it than the people betting on Alabama to cover up 3.5.
If someone gave you $1,000 right now and told you had to bet one way or the other, whether
Bama.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
But you give me Bama and you're giving me points?
It's 3 points. Why is it so close after the last time they met?
I'm going to start with Vegas doesn't care about narratives, right? Vegas doesn't care about narratives.
But it's not narrative. It's history. I mean, it's just a few weeks ago. We saw this matchup a few weeks ago. We saw what happened. How's that a narrative?
Well, you believe one of two things. You either believe that narratives matter or you believe any given Saturday, right? Isn't that what we all say? It's like every Sunday. Oh, any given Sunday. We named a movie after it. You either believe that narratives matter or you believe any given Saturday. Vegas subscribes to any given Saturday. Vegas doesn't care about narratives. That being said, I genuinely don't get this. I don't understand Georgia being favorited in this game. Maybe because it's outside of the South, right? But Atlanta is dogs country. Atlanta's Georgia country. It was like 55-45. I'll give you this. I think Alabama travels better than Georgia. I'll see if that plays out tonight. I don't know if the crowd's going to be pro-red or pro-crimson. But Alabama travels as well, if not better, than anybody else in the country. I still don't know why they're underdogs. Like, and I am with you in this camp, Lonzo. After seeing what we saw 4 or 5 weeks ago, after seeing Nick Saban historically in the playoffs and championship games, I don't get why you are leaning Kirby Smart. I don't understand it. It doesn't make sense to me.
You know, and I know it's been weeks, but technically that was 2 games ago, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's been 4 weeks, but it's been 2 games. Not even. It's 1 game ago for Nick Saban. It's 1 game ago for Kirby Smart that these two got together. Now, here is one thing I think may have happened. Alabama, I thought, genuinely, was going to beat Cincinnati by about 35 points. I thought they were going to wreck Cincinnati. And the fact that they did not, I think might be playing into Vegas a little bit. But here's my thought on that, Zoe. Alabama, when they got into the third and the fourth quarter, they knew they had that game under control, right? Like, did anybody genuinely feel midway through the third quarter like Cincinnati was a threat to come back? Did you think they were a threat to come back?
No, but I also didn't think they belonged there. So there was that.
I did not think they were a threat to come back, like at all. I didn't think they were a threat to come back. And because I didn't think they were a threat to come back, and I don't think Nick Saban did either, I think Bama kind of took the foot off the gas a little bit, right? They started running the football. I mean, not that they weren't running the football in the first, but they weren't like aggressively running the football. They were attacking the old 3 yards in a cloud of dust mentality, and if we pop one, we pop one. I think Alabama let up on the accelerator against the Bearcats a little bit. And because they didn't blow them out by 35, Vegas went, oh, well, maybe Bama's not quite as good as we thought they were. Then again, I won a bunch of money that day because Bama, I got Bama at minus 13.5 going into that game. And I ran with it. And I got the same feeling about tonight. Plus 3.5? Oh, I got money on Bama plus 3.5. I got money on Bama plus 3.5 because I've gone through every preview, every scouting report, every breakdown of this game that I can find. And I have yet to come up with a reason to believe that Alabama is genuinely the underdog in this game. But I look at where the money's coming in, and America feels differently. America feels differently. More bets coming in on the Crimson Tide, more money coming in on Georgia. Those that are betting Georgia are betting Georgia hard. Can anybody give me a reason that Alabama's the underdog in this game? Genuinely, I'm looking for a reason. Like, I don't have one. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307 says, I would hammer Alabama tonight and shade it all the way up to Bama minus 6.5 if I could. Yeah. I took the 3.5 I took the 3.5. And I'm kind of at a point now where I'm wondering if I shouldn't have teased it out to like 5. If I shouldn't have teased it a little bit. I kind of wish I would have now. I'm almost talking myself into playing a second bet on this game to add a little more coin to it because it feels like a guarantee. I mean, lots of it feel like I don't guarantee in sports, but this almost feels like a guarantee to me for recreational purposes only. Don't call me tomorrow and tell me Robbie cost me money. What would you be comfortable, Lonzo? You're not a gambling guy. But what would be the line that you would be comfortable giving to Georgia if you're Alabama here and still playing the game?
Coming out of my own pocket?
Yeah.
$50.
Throw $50 at Alabama minus 3.5.
Yes. I'm not going to, but
right,
yes.
Right. What would you say if I said Alabama minus 6.5? Would you take that bet still?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I've talked to people around Greenville, right? Talked to some folks at the Swamp Rabbits game last night. Talked to some folks yesterday afternoon at the Carolina Kickoff Show. And this is the conversation amongst my friends who put dollar bills y'all down on games. None of us can figure out why it is that Alabama's not just a dog, but the fact that you can get Bama minus 6.5, you can get them at -1. I mean, you can get them anywhere you want at this point. I don't get it. All right, let's take a break. I'll give you my official score prediction when we come back here in just a minute. And then Twitter trending topics to wrap it all up. It's Rob, it's Alonzo, you. The Rob Brown Show's on your radio. Your home for the College Football Playoff National Championship game is right here on ESPN Upstate.
I'm Christine Lisi. A surprise move in Miami. Dolphins fired coach Brian Flores. ESPN's Jeff Darlington reporting Flores was dismissed because of his deteriorating relationships with GM Chris Greer and quarterback Tua Tagovailoa. Despite speculation, owner Stephen Ross was interested in hiring Michigan Jim Harbaugh as coach. Ross says the Dolphins are not targeting him. The Bears fired coach Matt Nagy and GM Ryan Pace. Vikings fired coach Mike Zimmer and GM Rick Spielman. The Giants in the market for a new GM. Dave Gettleman retired following a 4th consecutive season of double-digit losses. Coach Joe Judge is expected to return. Alabama seeks a 7th national championship overall under Coach Nick Saban when it goes up against Georgia in the College Football Playoff national title game tonight. Megacast at 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN TV, and other ESPN platforms.
From the Ingles Market Studio, this is ESPN Upstate. 97.7 FM Greenville, 97.1 FM Spartanburg, ESPN Upstate.
An Odyssey station.
Wesley had IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Coming out of my house, my car. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
Wesley called Optima Tax Relief.
Oh, they were great people. Optima Tax. They know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-935-7144. 800-935-7144.
Optima Tax Relief.
For details, visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
We're all on this planet together. So join Odyssey and find your one thing. Resolve to recycle more. Recycle paper, bottles, and cans directly. And recycle old clothes by donating. Join Odyssey. And together, each of us doing one thing will be doing it tomorrow. What's your one thing?
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along, which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your
Harley Davidson in the last break.
Outstanding.
ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate through the site within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free. Just go to this exclusive web address, ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
At Churches, we're doing 10 pieces of our credit-worthy comfort made spicy or classic. That's 10 legs and thighs packed with bold flavor. That's how we do value. So you can do the Churches 10 starting at $10.99 a deal. Churches, bringing them down home flavor. Offer valid at participating locations.
You could save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive, but when we just come out and say it, it feels like it falls a bit flat. So instead, we're going to hire a professional voice actor and pay him absurd amounts of money to say,
I like this product.
Not sure why that was better. I mean, I'm a professional too, but we didn't pay him to say the business part, so back to me. Save big when you bundle your home and auto with Progressive. Let me say it was a bit of a letdown. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Discount not available in all states or situations.
Today's pros need today's tools, and nobody understands that better than the Home Depot. Our app makes it simpler to get supplies ordered and delivered. Our online project calculators cut guesswork and last-second supply runs. Job site delivery puts what you need where and when you need it. And renting puts the right equipment in your hands, but not your overhead. That's how today's pros get more done. New tech, new tools, old-fashioned hard work. The Home Depot, how doers get more done.
Rob Brown lockdown on Twitter.
All right, let's see here. Texter on the Preferred Home Services text line at 71307 says, do you think they did it because Vegas would make more on giving Georgia fans hope than Bama fans that will always pick Alabama either way, from Joe and Greer? I don't know, man. And maybe. But I don't think there's a marked fan base between Alabama. I don't think there's a huge difference between the fan bases of Alabama and Georgia when it comes to gambling, right? Like when it comes to betting, I don't think you have a huge, I could be wrong. I don't think you have a huge percentage of those two fan bases that would outweigh the bets you're getting. One of the things you got to remember is when you're talking about betting nationally, everybody's in on these games, right? It's an SEC game. It's a Southeastern game, but everybody's in on these games. Everybody. Alan says Bama being underdogs makes no damn sense. Yeah, I completely agree with you, Alan. Completely agree with you. It makes no sense at all. I've been trying to figure this out since the line dropped last weekend, and I still haven't done it. And again, maybe this is the trap, but it feels like free money to me. Feels like free money. Texas says Bama will copy the first matchup, go up tempo, keep Georgia big fat guys on the field, run them sideline to sideline, and wear them down. That is spot on. We talked about that last week. Alabama knows where Georgia's strength is. It's across the defensive line. Georgia's big as hell at the front of attack. But what's the old saying, Lonzo? You can't hit what you can't catch, right? You'd be the biggest mamma jamma on the planet. But if my 40's a full second faster than you, it doesn't matter how bad you are because you can't touch me, Jack. And that's what Alabama did. They did it against Cincinnati. They did it against Georgia. Nick Saban, by the way, is 5-1 in games that he has been an underdog in. 5-1. The only underdog game he lost was all the way back in 2008 against Florida. And every other game, underdog against number 1 Georgia, number 8 Georgia, number 1 Florida, number 3 Georgia, and number 9 Clemson. Underdog in all those games. He's won every one of those games, 5-1, and every one of them he's won by double digits. I don't get the number. I don't get the number. By the way, Lonzo, you and I have always joked that what's the best way to get us to go do something?
Pay us?
Okay, what's the second best way? It's to tell us we can't, right?
Yeah, there's that too.
Yeah. Lonzo and I have both
If you want to do them both at the same time, we're definitely for that.
I'm down to be paid to do things you tell me I can't do. Then I'll definitely get it done. The best way to get me and Lonzo to do something that we don't want to do is to tell us we can't do it. That's what Alabama is, guys. That's what they are. And they're getting told you're the underdogs. By the way, that line ESPN's got that line down to 2.5 now. Georgia favored by 2.5.
What is going on? I
don't
just
get it.
no.
I get it. You know what? I haven't broken out in a while. The free money alert.
See, I had it ready a couple times and you didn't go there.
You should have just run with it. You should have just run with it. I don't do. I think I've only done it. Actually, this is the first time in 2022 I've broken it out, ladies and gentlemen. First time in 2022 I've broken it out. But I'm gonna break it out. It's here. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a free money alert, my friends. Bama plus 2.5. And you can get them at plus 115 on the money line. I don't love the money line bet, but it's available to you. Bama plus 2.5. Free money, man. Yeah, I should have told you last week, lock him in at 3.5, but even if you didn't, even at 2.5, you're good. You're good. Texture says maybe Vegas thinks Steven Garcia is quarterbacking for Georgia. And we'll find out. Free money alert, ladies and gentlemen. Alabama plus 2.5. It's going to hit. Is this the Lonzo, how are these the best two teams in the country? Do you feel like this championship game is a little anticlimactic? Or is it just me?
Yeah, there's a reason why. I mean, I don't think it's going to be watched by as many people as you think. Like they're showing the mega cast on TV.
Yeah, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different ESPN channels broadcasting this game from 7 different angles.
You know, I'm down with the hometown radio stuff. I think that's really cool. That's always cool. But why you want to watch a round table for any football game?
I've seen some of the good ones when they have like 4 or 5 different head coaches on there.
You know why you watch the round table? When you're not really that interested in the game.
I disagree. I like having different angles. I like having coaches breaking the game down as opposed because look, the color commenter is just going to tell you handoff off the left tackle. It's good for 4 years. Tackle by number 47. Next play. The coach is going to tell you why that play works, and I really like that. I learned a lot from it. That being said, I think ESPN kind of let us down on the coach's war room this year because it's effectively Jimbo Fisher's coaching staff, which is fine. And Jimbo's won a national championship. But I like when they had like...
He ain't got nothing to do right now,
Yeah.
so,
but who's going to know Alabama better than Jimbo Fisher, right? That's his number one nemesis at Texas A&M. Texas says, what's the payout on the money line? I just saw it at Bama plus 115. So bet a hundo, win 115 back. Texas says it's always a little less climactic when you're going for round 2. Hello, Stacks. Quick break, Twitter to wrap it up next on the Rob Brown Show at ESPN Upstate. Harley Davidson of Greenville. You know what's not anticlimactic? When I tell you that you will never feel better than when you ride your brand new Harley up into the Blue Ridge Mountains or rolling around downtown Greenville and everybody looks and goes, dang, they look good. And they will. They will. Check it out. Harley Davidson of Greenville has got you covered right now. All right. And here's why. Not only do they have the largest pre-owned inventory in the upstate, if you are looking to upgrade your ride, if you are looking to grab a new ride, maybe you're looking to add to the collection of rides, they have got the largest inventory of pre-owned bikes in the upstate, which means the bike you're looking for is there. But if you're looking for something new, you're looking for something shiny, and more importantly, you're looking for the bike of your dreams, Harley Davidson of Greenville has got you because not only do they have color schemes and finishes that they've never had before, but all of the work on your Harley Davidson will be done by licensed Harley Davidson technicians. That's what they do. They work on Harleys. You want to see what I mean? Check them out at 30 Chrome Drive, and see the beautiful showroom or see the entire inventory on upstateharley.com. That's upstateharley.com. It's our friends at Harley Davidson of Greenville.
Severe home near 27. Tuesday, sunshine, high 45 degrees. And by Wednesday, mostly sunny, high 49. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Buczynski on ESPN Upstate. Currently, it's 52.
Radio.com is now Odyssey. Download the Odyssey app and listen to ESPN Upstate and all the sports, news, music, and podcasts.
We'll make sure you and your people do everything possible to see that it is perfect.
All in one place. It's the Odyssey app for ESPN Upstate. Odyssey is your new home for all the audio that matters to you. Download the Odyssey app today. Get all the sports you love. And listen to ESPN Upstate. They've rocked over 35 million fans around the world.
You want to see Bon Jovi?
Absolutely not.
I absolutely am. You got cocky. Great shot, kid. Don't get cocky.
I'm not doing what I always do. Try to go the other way, somewhere in between there.
Ooh. Thought you were going to lose a rebound there.
You adjust, you overcome, you persevere.
A ridiculous amount of time trying to remove tomato sauce from inside our microwave and soap scum off the bathtub. It's like seriously magic, and my secret weapon for cleaning the kitchen, bathroom.
It's like seriously magic.
Mr. Clean Magic Eraser.
What?
Invention ever.
I'm just repeating the commercial. It's nothing.
Why does Walgreens offer copays as low as $0 and 90-day refills? Because we care about Medicare, so you don't have to. I mean, do you really care to hear me go on about same-day prescription delivery making your life easier? Or how there's a pharmacy expert available 24/7 and one-click refills? Well, I just did anyways. Fill your Medicare prescriptions with Walgreens and save. $0 copays apply to Tier 1 generic drugs and select plans with Walgreens.
Do.
Walgreens.com/Medicare for complete details. Get help managing your money for the life and years ahead with Fidelity Income Planning.
Shake it up.
What you'll need and build a straightforward plan to generate income even when you're not working. A plan
Dance
that
on
your
me.
Plus, you can start, stop, or adjust your plan anytime without the unnecessary fees. Talk to us today so we can help you go from saving to living. Fidelity Brokerage Services number NYSE SIPC.
This whole wall needs to be shelving too. This is a focal point at our restaurant.
Leilani's new restaurant will have the largest wine cellar in the city. She needs a robust sommelier with notes of procurement.
Sommelier. How you spell that?
Indeed, you do. Instant Match instantly connects you with quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match.
SOMMELIER.
Sounds right. It's time for Twitter Trending Topics, where I tell Rob what is trending on the internet, including if you update the Facebook page and YouTube and stuff, you would have seen me ask Rob how to spell Somalia, and he nailed it.
Nailed it.
He did.
Stuck the landing. 10 of 10. 5 stars. Would recommend.
All right. Now, what is a sommelier?
It's a wine steward. It's somebody who comes to you and suggests different wines to pair with your food and can tell you where they're from and what year they are and what they're made out of and what region they were grown in.
Oh,
cetera.
like Reggie.
Like Reggie.
Okay. All right. All right. I get it now. Okay.
You know, it's just us 1%. It's a 1%er life.
Yeah, that's why I'll
1%er life.
I'll never be there, but that's okay. I'm not even going to live vicariously because I still don't get it. All right. So the thing that's trending, the first thing that's trending is Bob Saget.
Yes, Bob Saget, America's dad, has passed away, ladies and gentlemen. What was it? What was it, like 59, Sammy? Wasn't but 60-ish.
He was 65.
65. Bob Saget was incredible because for so many years, we all knew him as Danny Tanner and that guy who hosted America's Funniest Home Videos. But kids, for those of you that are younger than Lonzo, some of you will remember, or most of you, sorry, will not remember, that back before YouTube, if you wanted to watch people fall down in funny situations, you watched America's Funniest Home Videos with Bob Saget once a week.
It actually still exists, but Alfonso Ribeiro is.
Yeah, Carlton hosts it now. But when Danny Tanner hosted it, it was something else because if you wanted funny cat videos, you went to AFV. That's what you had. There was no YouTube. But if you've ever watched Danny Tanner's stand-up, Bob Saget was one of the dirtiest, most hilariousest dudes to ever grab a mic and walk on stage. But here's the best part. He was dirty as it gets on stage, and you will not find anybody to say a cross word about the guy.
You know, back in, I think it was late 80s, maybe early 90s, when it was before all that, I saw a stand-up on one of the Young Comedians things on HBO where they have like 4 or 5 guys come up and do a thing. And then seeing that and then seeing him be on television is like, okay, that's a different dude right there. Okay.
Bob Saget went from wholesome dad to the dirtiest old perv in the world. There was a scene with him in it in what's the Dave Chappelle movie? I'm totally blanking on it, but Dave Chappelle was in it where I can't even describe it. Just go to YouTube and type in Bob Saget weed and you will laugh hysterically. Well, you won't. Don't watch it at work. It's amazing. Bob Saget was one of the best, and between him and Betty White, it's been a tough 2 weeks.
All right, we got time for one more. The last thing is Fresh Prince.
Yes, the Fresh Prince is trending because executive producer Will Smith has dropped I guess it's like a sequel show.
The trailer just dropped.
Well, I'll watch it afterwards. It's for those of you who grew up watching the Fresh Prince like me, don't expect the same thing. This is more drama comedy than it is pure comedy like the old one was. Still going to give it a shot because Will Smith's good at his job. So I'm in. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Give me Alabama 32-21 over the Dogs tonight. We'll break the whole thing down tomorrow. Don't forget, you can listen to that game live right here on ESPN, as well as all the NFL playoffs and the Super Bowl. We are your home for live football, baby. Nobody but us. It's ESPN Upstate. Later, brother.